Hello and welcome. My name is Hello and welcome. My name is Adam Stewart and I'm one of the peer mentors at the 100 Black Men of London. Today is our Enhance Our Wealth, Enhance Our Community and Enhance Our Power event. Today we'll be talking to many different financial experts and the first one being the 100 Investment Club. Today I'm going to be joined by some of the other peer mentors and some of the alumni from previous years. So first up, I would like to call Jonas Andrew Phillip.
Good evening, my brother. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, bro. Could you just introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are and what you do?
Yes. So my name is Jonas Andrew Phillip. I'm 19 years old and I'm a public speaker, workshop facilitator, event host, and I guess I can say a model now as well. So that's interesting and really nice as well. And yeah, I'm a 100 Black Men of London alumni. And I was part of the program from 2016 to 2019. And I had a tremendous time on the program. So I'm just grateful for that and ensuring that we can give back to our community.
Thank you. Aminette?
Hi, I'm Aminette Adams. I'm currently a student studying psychology, and I've been a part of the 100 for the past 4 years.
Thank you. And last but not least, Ines.
Hi everyone, my name is Vanessa Crevel. I'm 19 years old. I'm currently a student at the University of Cambridge studying history, and I've been a part of the 100 Black Men of London for the past 11 years.
Thank you. So today, our first person that we're going to be talking to is the 100 Investment Club.
Yes, we got two kings.
Good evening. How are you there?
Blessings all.
Good evening.
How are you?
How you doing? How you doing right now?
I'm good, thank you.
Cool.
Okay, so
Ollie, how are you doing, Ollie?
I'm okay. I'm glad to be on. Glad to see you guys.
It's good to have you on. So to start off, could you just introduce yourself and introduce what the 100 Investment Club is all about and how it got started?
Okay. Who wants to take that on? Should I take that on?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Well, I think, the 100 Investment Club, my name's, before I launch into this, my name's Olawale, popularly known as Ollie Oladele. And, I've been a member of the 100 Black Men of London. This is my third year, and each year gets more and more interesting, and we get more and more added to the experience. And, Jonas, I recognize you, obviously I've worked with you, and I was part of Michael's, I still am part of Michael's finance and fundraising team, despite other changes and coming into the organization structure. But I think the first thing to say about the 100 Investment Club is it's one of those happy COVID stories. And, for me, it started with teaching an introduction to trading and managing financial assets. Basically for us, everything starts with a chart. So it's understanding charting. And I took that course in the lockdown last year, and Ola Olegun asked me if I could teach that course. And then he asked us if we could expand it out, give a focus to you guys and Diamonds with that course. And then we decided to, just launch the investment club with the idea of expanding financial literacy into our community. And I think we're into the second month of it, and it's going quite well in terms of what we're doing. Brian, that's as much as I probably want to say. I'm sure you've got lots you want to say as well. Do you want to add into that?
Absolutely, yeah. I can extend upon that. Yeah. So, as you know, it's a 100 Black Men of London initiative. It's brought together 5 traders who do this live, in their real lives. And really, the intention is just to improve on our community, to trade, to invest in their own time, and just grow ourselves basically. I mean, Ollie and I enjoy, all of us, we enjoy investing in trades. I deal with all of them. I found myself jumped right in the middle of crypto. The last 6 months has been such a exponential learning curve for me, and it's quite profitable. I'm finding it more and more profitable, more than stocks, what I've been used to, and Forex, which I've been used to before. So I'll probably have to rewind myself and introduce myself. My name's Brian Bailey. I've been with the 100. I've been as a parent with the 100 for 4 years. I've been a mentor. This was my second year as a member, and the 100 means everything to us, really. And we just want to continue this as the 100 Investment Club. We want to grow it to the point where people are telling us things, because trading is just so massive. There's no single person who has all the answers. So really, that's the real thing, is really getting it all together, bringing on a Telegram group that we have, making that much more active than it is now. We need to get hundreds of people on it, and then it could lead us anywhere, basically. Yeah. So that's me in a nutshell in regards to the 100 Investment Club and my background. Yeah. And I think we got our colleague Kwame. He's just jumped on. So Kwame's into stocks as well. Kwame, would you like to say a little bit about what we do at the 100 Investment Club?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
we can hear you and see you.
I've just entered the chat. How many people are in the chat at the moment?
Oh, we're all on. We're live at the moment.
Is it 50? Because I can't even see. It's the first time I'm using this platform, StreamYard. Is it 50 people? Because right now I can only see 6.
Yeah, it's been streamed live, so we're all on. We're all in the outside world now, Kwame.
Oh, so it doesn't give you a number at the bottom.
So Kwame, could you just introduce yourself and let us know what you're doing at the 100 Investment Club at the moment?
All right, so at the moment, got a message coming through. So I've been working the 100 for a couple months. I run a stock club. Originally, I started off with Forex with Ollie. Did a bit of that in the Forex group with the 100. But after that, I got into the stocks and got a portfolio at the moment. The yield's at 9%. What else could I say? Originally, I had a presentation ready, but don't really have the time to put that out. Do you have any questions for me, Adam?
I'm going to get Kofi to introduce himself, and then we're going to go around to that as well. So Kofi, can you just introduce yourself also and let us know what you do at the 100 Investment Club?
Kofi, can you hear us?
Got a bit of tech issues.
Okay. If not, we'll let Kofi introduce himself afterwards. One of the questions I was going to ask you guys is that what makes the 100 Investment Club different from any other investment club?
Okay. I'll give my sort of my half pence on that. Really, I think for me personally, with trading and investment, it can be quite personable, and when you have other people, like-minded people who have the same mindset as you, you bounce off each other, you learn and earn from each other, you learn things all the time. I mean, I'm more wiser, this week than I was last week, especially in, crypto and, the prices. I've learned so much. And why I think it's different with 100, because it's all our people of ilk, we have to get ahead. I think for me personally, it's like, the Tulsa massacre, Wall Street massacre. I mean, that's 100 years ago, like the end of May, next month, and we are still moving too slowly. And we've got a lot of opportunities out there. There's a lot of financial instruments that could get us in the right place, and we should all jump on that, every single one of us, not just me, not just Ollie or Kofi or anybody, all of us, we should all be working together to get to that destiny, and that's financial security, because we don't have that in our community. So that's what I think makes us different.
Yeah, and if I could add in, our approach to this is, what knowledge do I have now that I wish I had when I was 18, 19, even at university, even at 20, even in your 30s. And it's a mindset, it's an investment mindset, because a lot of my trading heroes, people like Alpesh Patel, they traded their way through university. I know Brian's teaching his son. My daughter, his young son, I forget, your son's still at school age, isn't he, Brian?
He's 11, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't, so it literally starts from your first piggy bank. And I think the other factor for me in this is that there's a lot of barriers to entry put out there, and those barriers to entry also come under race, unfortunately. You look out into the programs in the city, what do you see? Bunches of white guys, jumping up and down, shouting about trading. It doesn't have to be that complicated. It can literally be you there, sitting there on your phone, sitting there with your laptop, managing an investment, and then going off to university, or then going off to college. It can be buying, I was working out and about last week. Guy walked into my venue with us on a skateboard, and he's got 100 grand of in Bitcoin and crypto investments. Doesn't have to be that complicated. Anybody can do it, and that's what we've got to get across to our community. We've got to get that message that it's accessible to anybody. The earlier you start, the more successful you're going to be.
Definitely. And Kofi, would you like to introduce yourself for everybody that's watching, if you can hear us?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Kofi. I'm part again of the 100 Investment Club. I do apologize.
Something's happened with your sound.
Kofi.
It's like Kofi's on the move. We can't hear you, Kofi.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So yes, as I was saying, I'm on my way to the back. Yeah, so as part of the 100 Investment Club, I run with the guys, and is
Oh, Kofi, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I'll just confirm. I can't hear much of anything from Kofi. I'm not sure if anybody else can, but
no, mate. Can we go back to him? Can we go back to Kofi?
Yeah, let's go back to Kofi. So,
we focus on
Kofi. Cool. I'm just gonna ask the question regardless to you two. What makes you different from any other investment club?
yeah, I think that's based on the question you put to us before, Adam. I think it's really about the community. It's about, what my personal opinion is that it's because it's run under the 100 umbrella. This is fairly unique because we can bring our community straight to the table to learn. We're going to have more things going on during this year. Teaching younger people. That's what we should be doing. But parents, without parents' support, then things don't really go anywhere really, unless you've got a very special child. That's what I believe. So parents and carers are really, we need to actually educate them, and they end up educating us as well. So it is really about, that's what I believe makes it different. Yeah. Well, did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
Okay.
And another question I wanted to ask you guys is that how do you think we can actually build wealth, or how can our 100 Investment Club build wealth within the community? And how does it help to build wealth?
Okay, yeah, that's another good question. I think, wealth is, I think there is a difference between being rich and wealth. Being rich is not good enough, really. You could spend that away, but wealth is really being able to catch those fish every day, or having an income stream that will support your family. So, with the 100, again, cooperating our resources together, to make more, so if we want to buy, property, for example, we could have 6 people, put in a deposit, and then, it's just simple economics, really. So it's really the cooperative side, so if there is, for example, in the crypto space or the stock space, if we put our money together and we compound it, if we use compounding interest, which I believe is the eighth the eighth wonder of the world. So does Albert Einstein, and he's a sharp person. Even he believes that's the case. So the more money we have, the more money we can create. So working together, the African saying, running alone, you can run fast alone, but when you're running together, you run far, very, very far. Yeah. So that's my part about investing. Yeah. Get
Amazing.
the right mindset.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you all for coming on today as well. We've unfortunately reached the time limit, so we're going to bring us to Lima now, but thank you all for coming on today. And it's been a pleasure speaking to the 100 Investment Club. Thank you.
Could I just say something very quickly? If you're not in the Telegram group, please get involved with the Telegram group, and we'll try and paste the link into the chat for you so everybody can get involved. Yeah.
I've posted a link, but I've not put the description on it because I've not used this app before. But I'll put a link in there. So if you do want to use that, then please do. Yeah, it's the join link for Telegram.
Yeah, we want to train our community in this. So, we want to share this knowledge. And, you know, we want knowledge, as I say, that's in our head at 30, 40. We want it in, you know, everybody's heads by the time they're 20, 25. Yeah. We want to save you time, save you a lot of time.
100%, 100%, 100%. Thank you all for coming on, and take care, everyone.
Blessings.
Thank you.
And now, guys, we're gonna welcome Salima to come on, and we've got some really good questions for her. And I'm joined with Aminette. How you doing?
Hi.
Cool. Hello, Salima. Long time no see.
Salima, we can't hear you.
Yeah, something's up with your mic. You sound like Mickey Mouse on your mic right now.
Sorry for that. We're experiencing a few technical difficulties, but we'll be back with Salima in a second. But it was wonderful to hear from the 100 Investment Club and to learn about the various ways that we can enhance our wealth as a community.
100%. That's important for us as the Black community. And they mentioned the Wall Street Massacre. That's definitely one of the reasons why we need to look forward and actually think about investing in our economics also.
Can I do a mic check? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Good. Sorry about that.
It's all good. So first question for you, Salima, is
yes.
Who are you and what do you do?
Yes, so my name's Salima A. Soul. Depends on where you know me from. Some people call me Soul, some people call me Salima. I leave that up to you. But I am the founder and CEO of Real Life Events, which is encompasses how to make money doing what you love. So I speak to young people about how do you find your passions, and this is through employability projects that I put together with organizations. And I also speak to adults about how do you make money doing what you love doing through coaching, one-to-one coaching and group coaching. So yes, I'm super passionate about how do we get the business know-how in our community, around creatives and cultural people with some fantastic ideas. So that's what I do.
And so in terms of business coaching, how exactly do you help people and the community as a whole?
Yeah, so as I said, I put together either bespoke one-to-one business coaching. I have a program called Purpose, Passion and Profit. And it really is life and business coaching. And it's about how do you stay consistent? A lot of people come to me with challenges around time management, around business know-how as well. So I'm passionate about brands and building brands and what it means to have a strong, authentic brand. And so I will take people through steps of really getting to know themselves and what it is that they're trying to do so that they can really find the foundations of their business. So that's with adults. And then also with young people, what I do is I put together programs really for corporate organizations who are interested in engaging with young people in different aspects. People come to me for various projects, whether they want to have got work experience for them or whether they have just a sort of groups where they want feedback from young people. At the moment, I am putting together a digital marketing sessions, workshops for young people up in Edmonton with 21K Digital Media, a fantastic organization in Edmonton's shopping centre. So if any of you are interested in that, it's free. It's for the community. They've got a lovely hub there. We're hoping that we're going to be in person. If not, it's going to be online. We won't be held back. But 21K Digital Media, they are great. I'm going to be doing that with them. That's my latest Real Life Events youth project. And I'm also at the moment launching my group membership for creatives. Creative and cultural. How do you make money doing what you love? And that is building on what Brian was just mentioning around the networks and having a community, people that are actually moving together. So for that, it's founding members for 12 people to join that. And that's going to be super exciting. How do you actually find your first paying clients? And taking people through 6 months of that and getting really deep into how do you communicate your message and get that out and get to those paying clients.
Sounds really good. And a lot of people have heard the TED Talk by Simon Sinek, and obviously his famous quote in that TED Talk was, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So my question to you is, why is your business needed?
Yeah, such an important question. And it's needed because so many people have ideas, you know, and so many people come up with brilliant ideas on a daily basis. I mean, I come up with 20 ideas a day, and really being able to home into what you're good at, why you're doing it, like you said, and just being able to give people some guidance around it. And often what happens, especially in the sort of creative and cultural industry, is that people are really creative, but they don't necessarily have the business know-how. So those steps that it actually takes, you know, because we know it's a lot of work to put together a business, and having a coach and a guide and someone that is cheerleading for you to really hold you accountable is what I'm so interested in. I mean, that's the bigger picture. The real underlying issues that I really find, and why I'm doing this, is I have been around a lot of mental health and people with a lot of mental health episodes in their lives, and I realized that for me, I wanted to give back, actually. And my brother passed away, bless him, at a very young age, and he was super creative, and I really believe it was due to the pressures of life, you know. And he had so many different creative ideas. He was rapping, he had a deal with Sony at a really young age, and was doing some great stuff. And I wished, he was older than me, and I wished that I was in a position where we had enough people around us that nurtured some of the things that he really wanted to do in life, you know. And so that's my big sort of pull towards this. How do you save yourself from a breakdown and really do what you love, you know? I think we're in the best time in our history that you can really home into what it is that you want to do. You know, you can have your studies, you can do the day job or whatever, but having that balance of what it means to really fulfill yourself and your dreams and what your calling really is something that can be nurtured. And if you have the right type of people around you, you're in the right networks, that can come out. What I've also realized with young people is that often a lot of young people don't really know what they want to do. You know, they kind of go, you know, you're lucky if you are a singer or a dancer, or you can paint, or you can do something, you know, at a young age, and you kind of go, okay, I know what I want to do. But often, and the majority of people, young people, are kind of like, I don't know what I want to do, which is rightfully so. And so what I talk about with young people is just try everything, try anything. You don't actually know where your passions are. It might be selling shoes, you know, you might be super passionate salesperson in the end, a communicator. You don't know until you do it. And so I speak to and I knock on doors of corporate companies and say, give young people a chance to even have a look around, even to just be in a space could open your mind to really kind of go, oh, you know what, that could be me. I could do that, you know. So those are my whys, definitely.
I think it's really interesting to get a greater understanding of why you do what you do. Especially for me, I'm studying psychology, and so I think over the past year or so, I've definitely learned a lot more about how important and how pivotal mental health can be to where you are in life and moving you forward, or sometimes even holding you back. And so our last question for today is, how does anyone contact you?
Yes, so do hit me up on most of the social media. You can look up Salima A Soul, or you could look up Real Life Events. Check out my website. It's Real Life Events, no double L, no double E. Should change that, but it just kind of works quite nicely together. reallifeevents.com. Or you can also find me on Insta for my group coaching, or the adult coaching, which is also Real Life Events _coaching. Again, no double L, no double E. Or the youth stuff is under Real _Life _Events _RLE. I'll put those in the chat. Hopefully someone can put them in for me. But yeah, I'm always at it. You'll find me at my desk doing lots of different things and giving back to community on any way that I can in the time that I've got to do it. I love this stuff.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been wonderful to hear from you and about what you do.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So our next guest tonight is Bimpe, who's going to be giving us some information about agile coaching.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hi. Thank you for having me.
So it's lovely to meet you, Bimpe. So it would be great for us just to get a good idea of who you are and what you do.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. So I'm Bimpe Odu. I'm founder of the Agile Beehive and lead trainer there as well. So what we do is we provide basically great learning experiences for people to understand how to develop great, meaningful and purposeful solutions, particularly in the tech space. The numbers of, I guess, really Black people and young people as well in the tech space, it's disproportionate to more so Caucasian people. And what I do is help particularly young people and Black people to get into that space, to understand what product development is, the mindset that's required around that, to be agile and develop meaningful, innovative, purposeful solutions for our community, by our community as well. So that's who I am, that's what I do.
Amazing. Now, this is the same question we asked Salim, actually. However, we want to hear it from you as well. So how do you help people, and how does your business generally help the Black community?
Yeah. So I've been working with the 100 Black Men of London. So I've been working with the charity now for quite some time. And since this academic year of 2020 to 2021, we've been focused on sharing the necessary skills with kids, with the diamonds in the 100, to understand those important skills that are necessary to build something that's by the community, for the community, but also something that's meaningful, something that has a purpose and actually creates an impact. So that requires you spending a lot of time to understand what the customers' needs are. Are their customers, the assumptions around having an idea and thinking it's going to actually be beneficial to people. What we do is help them to understand who the customers are, but also if the service or the solution that's offered actually can create an impact to the customers. So that's what I'm doing with the 100 at the moment. I have a number of interns that are working with me as well to understand how they can utilize their development skills, their social media skills and so on, and actually apply it to a business. And I basically train them to understand what product development is, what agile is, and how to learn around how to share that knowledge, how to grow an idea into something that can actually make money for them. So I've been doing that with them, and I'm also doing quite a number of things in Africa. It's all kind of like kicking off, but in Africa, working with a number of B2B opportunities, Canadian companies trying to bring people over from Africa, but they need the necessary skills to successfully do that. And what I'm doing is sharing the Agile skills, and Agile really is about, ensuring that people iterate, come up with a great idea, firstly, vision, an idea that's actually going to create an impact, going to create, a meaning to the community, and then evolve that idea based on feedback from customers, based on research and so on, and do that in a very iterative manner. So I'm doing that with a Canadian company to help people in Africa to learn about their skills and get into the professional environment and get a good career and a good job. Like, maybe their first job would actually be a successful, like high paying job through, the experience gained through the training. And then on the other side is actually training young people in Africa remotely around Agile and product development. So those are a couple of things that are kind of like in the pipeline and happening, but currently working with 100 on the diamonds and teaching them the necessary skill. And they've actually got a product that's like being evolved right presently. So hopefully we can actually sell it to some people soon.
That's absolutely amazing, especially your work with the diamonds. And I think you've already sort of slightly touched on it in terms of describing your work with the diamonds and your interns. But why do you feel that your business is needed?
Yeah, good question. So I think a lot of us come up with ideas that is repeated, that exist already, okay? But then when I mentioned innovation, with ideas that are quite innovative, that are new, brand new, doesn't exist already, you need a level of understanding and a certain kind of mindset to be ready to kind of fail fast, learn fast, and iterate on something that you've built. So when you have maybe a prototype or something, and for an idea that you're trying to develop, you need to have like a certain mindset to keep adding to that and getting researching as you're contributing to the development of that idea. So that mindset and the skill set required and the frameworks, methods, and approach that help you to successfully do that is what I share. And I do it in a manner that it's not just, here you go, learn about this and go off and do it yourself. We actually work together to learn how to apply the necessary framework, skills, and mindset and so on to be successful in what you're trying to achieve. And just to give you an example, there's so many products out there that maybe are not built by us, but it's for us, or maybe it's not even built for us necessarily, but we try and like go in and utilize them. So, the drivable cars, for example, early phases of it couldn't identify Black people. Why? Because probably everyone in the room building this innovative idea, it's innovative, right? And it's going to benefit Black, white, whatever color you are, age, gender, it doesn't matter. It's going to really benefit us all. But there was very little consideration for testing and the prototype testing that it actually is adequate to work around Black people. If we had a Black person in the room building this idea or contributing to the development of this idea, there would have been consideration for it to avoid hitting Black people. So that's just an example of how something very innovative, drivable cars, automatic drivable cars, is something great, new. And if you were in a professional environment contributing towards that development, and you had this necessary skills, then you would successfully help out in building something that actually caters to us all, but then also, with ideas that actually benefit us, such as like great products for our hair, or just things that can actually support African people in Africa and so on. If we have the necessary skills to come up with great products, and we know how to kind of go about that, in a very tight, short time frame with little investment, I think there'll be a lot more things created by us, done by us, and actually creating a great impact for us as well. So that's why I think it's super important to have these like necessary skills and go with these training as well.
Amazing. And just because you just said some sensational stuff right there, so before we go, can you just let the people know how they can contact you, because I'm sure people are going to want to contact you right after you said that.
Sure. Yeah, so best place to look at is my website. So it's called The Agile, AGILE Beehive. So it's BEE-HIVE.com. So The Agile Beehive. Sorry, The Agile Bee-Hive.com. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, if you need any consultation or support around how to get in the professional space as a product manager, project manager, an agilist, or a developer, you know, or even your business owner wanting to come up with an innovative solution, that is the best place to find me. You'll find my website, which is what I've just shared, Clubhouse, YouTube, and so on.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Bimpe. It's been great to get an insight into a little bit more what you do. And so I'd like to welcome back Adam and introduce Stepladder.
Hi, Amina.
Hey guys,
Hi.
how are you?
Good, thank you. So just to get started, it would be great if you could just tell us who you are and what you do.
Sure. So my name is Ose. I work for Stepladder. I'm currently the head of partnerships there. Stepladder, we are a online platform that helps people benefit from group economics. Group economics being, how do we work together to achieve our financial goals? And we've created a platform that is built on, I don't know if you guys will be familiar with it, but maybe your parents or your uncles and your aunts. There's a concept known as Pardner or Susu or Agile. It depends where you're from. It's got a different name in almost every country. But we've basically built a secure platform that lets people join a partner and work towards their financial goals together as a group.
And there was a question linked to like the partner and the circles and stuff like that. So I wanted to just get a better understanding. So what is actually the circles about and how does it work? And yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so we call it a circle just because everyone has a different name for it. So we thought, let's just, try and accommodate all. So we call it a circle. And on our platform, you can join any amount, as small as £25, all the way up to, up to £1,000. And it depends on your budget. We are creating a specific one just for the charity, for the mentors and the mentees to join. So you could actually be part of it with each other. Because, some people be like, oh, I don't know the people. Obviously, we have things in place to make sure every group is secure. But we've actually created an exclusive one just for the 100. So it's just you guys. You guys can be in it together. And we've got one that's £25 for a group of 10, £50, £100, 150. So you could do the maths. 100 people, £100 of 10 people will help you to raise £1,000. And the reason we encourage people to join them is because it helps you build discipline. I don't know if you guys have tried saving when you're doing it alone. It's very easy to spend your money on, things happen in life, isn't it? Someone's birthday, something comes up, and you end up just spending the money that you get. But the good thing about the circle is that it helps you actually be committed. You said, okay, I've got this goal, I want to work towards it. I've got accountability now. It's not just me. I'm with a group of people, and you get there eventually.
I definitely know that idea.
So I know you mentioned when you initially brought up partner circles that it's something that's maybe not as well recognized in our generation, but it's more a part of a more present part of life in our parents, our grandparents' generations, because especially from my understanding at least, that when they first came here, there was certain blocks and disruptions to being able to access banking in the same way that most people could because of their place in society. And so as we've moved out of that element to a certain extent, and we're in an era where banking is easily accessible just from your phone, do you think that circles in that same way are slightly outdated?
It's a very good question. So I wouldn't say so, because people still have the banking apps, they still have the access to it, but they still struggle with the discipline. So a lot of people have said that, the reason they joined was because they never would have been able to do this by themselves. Even me, myself, I joined because when I get paid, I used to do all sorts of stuff. So me, myself, I've seen that benefit. So I wouldn't say it's outdated at all. People were still doing it informally, but that can come with risks. If you're doing it cash in hand, someone might not contribute 1 month, versus if you come on our platform, we've mitigated that risk so that people can actually do it securely. Whether it's a group of people or a group of strangers, you could do it securely, and you still get that option to build discipline. You're not alone. You're with a group of people. Now you're committed to hitting your goals. And alongside that, so that's just the basic part, we've also modernized it as well to make it a bit more, come with a bit more features. So one of the benefits that we have is that we work with a credit bureau called Equifax. So what that means is, as you're part of a circle and you're paying into your circle, you have the potential to build your credit history as well. So if you just save in your bank, that's fine. You can still save and hit your goal. But if you work towards your goal in Stepladder, you can also build your credit history at the same time. And that's what a lot of people find really beneficial, because it's something that credit history it will follow you throughout your life. And the better it is, the better chances you have of buying a house, getting a car, even getting a phone contract, and even opening, a business bank account. Your credit history follows you everywhere. So that's something that we've added to make it more beneficial.
Thank you. And to my understanding, I know that there's a few circles that you kind of set up for the 100. So would you be able to speak on some of those, and some of the 4 circles that you set up, and how people can get involved in that?
Yes, exactly. So we've set up some specifically for the 100. What that means is you guys can just be together, so you don't have to be with any of our other users. It's just you guys together on our secure platform. Imagine if you was doing it cash in hand, you don't ever want it to get awkward. We've taken all of that out of it, so you don't have to deal with the admin or deal with the hassle of getting money off everyone. We take all of that out of it. And the circles we had on offer were £25 for 10 months, £50 for 10 months. So the first one you would get £250. The second one you'll get 500. We have £100 for 10 months, which is £1,000, and £150 for 10 months, which is £1,500. So you could join any of those depending on how much you can afford to put away each month. And by joining that, we've put on like a special program. So Michael he's also got his financial coaching business as well. So he's going to put on a bunch of financial workshops for people who join as well. And we will also put on some property workshops to help educate people on property, and also just to help them build a better relationship, a better understanding of their finances as well. And also we are donating to the building fund as well. So for every person who joins, we will be donating £50 towards the building fund. So on the GoFundMe. So if one person joins, it's 50. If 2, that's 100. If 10 people join, 500. So however many people join, we will donate £50 for each person.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so that was, I think, wonderful just to get a bit more insight into how the circles work, but also about our Build Our Community campaign, because I know it's been a very important part of the 100 for the past couple of years to be able to physically have something that's for us, by us. And so for you guys to contribute to that is amazing. And so my last question is how can people contact you in terms of joining the circles, but also in terms of gaining insight into property, as you mentioned earlier?
Yes, so in terms of joining the 100 circles, there's a specific link, which is joinstepladder.com/KBM. So if you join through that link, I don't know if I might be able to send it. There's a bit of noise.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, just to repeat. Yeah, there's a specific link that you could join, which I will aim to send out. Oh, it's been sent. There we go. It's in the chat. You could join through that link, and that will take you to the circles. If you have property-related questions, feel free to DM us on Instagram. We are at Join Stepladder, or if you join through this, you can contact us directly. It's very easy to, and we're happy to answer your questions.
Thank you so much, Jose.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. So next up, we have Miss Anne.
Hi everyone. So next up we have Afro Moya, who's gonna join us. They're gonna link us in the chat. Just a fun fact that I saw on their website, Moya means life. Am I correct?
Exactly. Am
Yeah.
I new? Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. It means life, yeah.
So just to start off with, can you just explain who you are and what you do?
Yeah. Okay, so basically my name is Adrian. So I've created Afromoya, and we launched only 2 months ago. And Afromoya is basically a secure ticketing platform dedicated to Black-owned virtual and physical events. So the aim of it is really to bring the best out of London, but also Paris and other European big cities in one place. And basically we aim at having all that significant content within the single place to ease the access to those events for the wider audience. So we have 6 categories basically, and really we aim at capturing as many events as possible. So we're not focused on some particular events. We aim at capturing business events, but also lifestyle or even entertainment events. So this is what we do.
Thank you. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, I know you recently referred to the business like recently starting, and I can see this vision going really expanding in the next couple of months. And one thing I was going to ask you is that what's the future vision for your business?
Well, the long-term objective is really to be the go-to platform when it comes to Black content or Black events, really. Because at the moment we've got a particular focus on Paris and London, because in a nutshell, those are the 2 largest Afro communities in Europe, first of all, and also because these 2 are active and dynamic environments with a lot to share. So it's important that we create that bridge between the 2 cities. But ultimately, we're looking to be the go-to platform in Western Europe. So literally, when it comes to Black-owned events, even in Spain or Portugal or even Belgium or Switzerland, all these countries, then people go directly to afromoya.com in order to find those events. That's a long-term objective.
And I know that you promote Black-owned events. So could you just highlight the importance of in kind of investing in your community and kind of celebrating and going to Black-owned events?
Yeah. Well, the sole purpose of Afromoya is really to create a safe space for African Caribbean people. So we aim at creating exposure and raise awareness and build trust in order to create that economic empowerment for the Black community. So this is through the events is one way of doing it, and really we aim at having some sort of a paradigm for African Caribbean people. So our core values are literally unity and authenticity. And authenticity is literally having Black-owned events. So not only events that are related to African Caribbean people, but events that are created by us. So this is really what we want to put forward. And that's why we aim at really shining a light on all those people, all those hardworking brothers and sisters within the community.
Thank you. And with everything that Afromoya is doing at the moment, if someone was to actually be able to book an event, how can they find Afro Moya, and how can they contact you?
Well, we are basically everywhere at the moment. We are on all social media. So we're on Instagram, on Facebook. We are on LinkedIn as well. For all the professionals that are looking to create business events as well. So basically, how they can contact us? So through the website. So obviously www.afromoya.com. That's one way of doing it. We've also got our email, so contact@afromoya.com. That's another way. And also our social media, so Instagram, we're very, very active on it, very proactive. We are, we are able to reply to any messages that we get within 24 hours. And so we are literally everywhere at the moment. And because we've freshly launched, we are really active into being visible, but also building that trust with the people from the community, because we need to build that trust. We need to be seen as a reliable partner for all the brothers and sisters that are looking to create events, and we want to be that partner. So we are currently everywhere, and we really actively get in contact with all the brothers and sisters in the community that create events.
And in terms of kind of building that trust within the community, what can we do as the 100? What can we do to support your business?
Well, the 100 is a pretty reliable movement itself, isn't it? So basically, if the 100 is posting events on Afro Moya, their own events on Afro Moya, it would reflect positively on Afro Moya, obviously, because obviously if people associate the reliability of the 100 to Afro Moya, it would naturally shine a light on what we do. So this is one way of doing it, and also spread the word, because obviously you guys have got a huge network within the community here in London, in the UK in general. So obviously you know a lot of people that organize events, and you guys are part of the 100. But I know that some of you've also got your own movement aside of the 100. For example, I've been talking to Lewis, who owns the Successful Soccer, and he posted his event that happened today on Afro Moya, for example. So I know that you guys know a lot of people. Just by spreading the word, make sure that people are aware that Afro Moya is there to help us, would be a good way to start.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me.
No problem.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Next up, we have Jonas and Amunet to join us again.
Yes. How are you doing, Amunet?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too. I went to go grab some food quickly, but now we're ready for this. Good, quick 20-minute break, but now we're ready for skilled finances to come on.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hi.
I am very well. How are you doing?
Good.
Oh, there you go. Come on.
So, first things first, may I ask you, who are you and what do you do? And can you explain about how you and your wife got into financial education for us, please?
Sure. So, yeah, my name is Tando Jacobs. Married to my wife. We've been together for 5 years now. And we run a business really called Skilled Finances, where we essentially teach personal finance education. And we got into it for various reasons. So partially was to spread financial education to the masses, because although we know about it, just due to our experiences of where we work, and where we used to working in finance, etc. It's very evident that not many people just have a general understanding of how to manage their finance as well. That's the first reason. And the second reason was also that because from our experience as a married couple, we also recognize that money is a very big topic, and also research shows that money can lead to divorce and separation with couples. So, we want to open the conversation up and help people who are wanting to learn how to manage their money well, and also talk to couples about, giving them some tips about what we do to not have money be something that comes between us.
Thank you so much. And so our next question, how important do you think it is for us as a community to be able to manage our finances?
Completely, very important. It's probably the most important thing you should do with your finances, for various reasons. I think, I don't know about you guys, but growing up for me, my mum and my dad never really set me down to say, this is what you do with your money. This is how you manage it well. All I know is when I got paid, I went to get the nicest car, the nicest clothes, and then I wait for the next payday after that. So it's very important to understand that, a lot of money does come through your hands, although it doesn't feel like it at the time. And the answer to you, I guess the answer to you really making big moves financially is going to be you learning how to manage your money. It's the foundation to everything. A lot of people want to start a business, they want to learn how to invest, they want to save money to buy a house, whatever it is that you're wanting to do. Learning how to manage your finances is the foundation of all of that, because that's how you then start to make calculations of, okay, what can I afford? What can I manage to do? It's even more important for our people to do that, because, with our people, most of the times we dream a lot, but we don't really achieve a lot in many cases. And when we do try and achieve a lot, we like to look rich, but we aren't truly rich, and I think that if there's any people who should do it, it should be our people that should sort of take that responsibility to say, okay, this is the money that we've got. Let's figure out how we can put ourselves in a better position. That way, we can actually have a long-term impact on our own people and our own family members and stuff like that. So that it's not just about me getting the things that I like, but it's about us building a position where we can impact our children and our future generations to come after us.
I agree with you. So, just rounding up everything you said, you actually have a really, really good course, I've heard. So could you please let us know about your course, Level Up Your Money in 10 Days?
Right. Okay. No, I appreciate that. So Level Up Your Money in 10 Days is a course that I put together. It's that we put together. It's a foundational course. It's free. You can find the link on our Instagram page. It's completely free, and it's 10 days because it's 10 lessons, and each lesson dives deep into a specific thing. So lesson 1 is fundamental budgeting. Lesson 2 is how to set up your accounts in the right way, your bank accounts, and the right accounts that you need to have. Lesson 3, we look at the kind of savings that you need to be looking to build. We then go into things like how to manage your debts, what investing is about and how to approach that, how to calculate your net worth. There's so many things that we cover in that 10-day period. It's quite in depth, but it's a free course because, again, we want to spread financial education. And so we wanted to put almost like a foundational package for people to just learn the fundamentals of, okay, if I want to learn how to manage my money and be skilled in my finances, these are the things that I need to be aware of. And it's 10 lessons. So it's a free course. All you have to do is go on our link on our Instagram page and click on the 10-day money course link, and then sign up, and then all the lessons will come to your inbox on your email.
Thank you so much for that. So our next question is, what services do you as an organization provide outside of the course that you mentioned already?
Yeah, so at this present moment in time, we are primarily building up sort of courses and products, digital products, so like things like ebooks and stuff like that. Just primarily because we are kind of taking the approach of helping as many people as we can at this point. We do offer sort of one-to-one coaching or one-to-one sessions for those who need it, but that is kind of on a case-by-case basis depending on what the need is, because there's certain things that we help with and there's certain things that we just don't help with at the moment in time. But apart from that, it's just the courses and the content that we put out on our social media pages and on our website.
Amazing. And you've mentioned this already today, but could you just let us know again, for people that may have missed it, where can people find you on social media so they can get in contact with you?
Sure. So it's literally at Skilled Finances everywhere. So whether that's on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, that's kind of the main places. For Facebook as well, got a Facebook page, but largely it's Instagram. That's where we are. So at Skilled Finances, and you can also find us on our website, which is skilledfinances.com as well.
Thank you so much for that. I did what you mentioned earlier that that finances can be a massive cause in terms of relationship breakdowns. And so I wanted to know if there was a specific way you maybe thought that couples should manage their money depending on how much they're earning in comparison to each other.
Yeah, so that's a big question. I think there isn't a one blanket answer to that. And that's because many people believe different things. I think the fundamental question to begin with is to understand, is to first speak to your partner around how you each think you should be managing your finances. Because somebody might say, let's put all of our money together. But then your partner might say, well, I want to keep my money separate from your money. So you want to be able to find yourself in a space where you come to an agreement about how you're going to manage your money sort of overall. And then you start to dive deeper into, okay, what does that look like? Do we have joint accounts, or do we keep our accounts separate? Do we put our monies together, or do we keep it separate? Or do you put some of it together, but leave other bits, separate and stuff like that? And I think the way you approach your budget as a couple is then the key to everything else. But one thing that's very, very clear to understand, or for me to point out, is that all of this takes trust and it takes openness. And if at the end of the day, money is just a tool, right? Money is a tool that you use to build your life and to do the things you want to do. And it's also a tool that you use so it's also something that highlights what you are. So what that simply means is, if you're somebody who's stingy with £1, you'll be stingy with £1,000 or £1 million. It's not going to change, because you're a stingy person. And so if you already have trust in your relationship, all money will do is it will just highlight that trust. But if there's a little bit of distrust, usually speaking, there's other elements in your relationship that you're also thinking, I'm not sure about this, that, and the other. So we've actually got a workbook that we've put together, basically a couples money workbook that we've put together to answer this specific question, and to give people some sort of a guideline of how to approach this topic, because like I said in the beginning, different couples will want to do it differently, and that's fine. The workbook is actually coming out this week. We'll announce it on our socials and stuff like that when we officially launch it. But we have put a workbook together for couples to give them something to begin with, so that they know, okay, we're in a relationship. How should we manage money together, and what should we do with it?
Thank you so much for that. And just thank you for joining us today. It's been great to get an insight from you in terms of how important managing our finances are before we expand onto greater things, and also in terms of relationships. I'm sure there'll be people that appreciate that too. Thank you.
Cool. No worries. Thank you for having me.
And so next, we have Savvy Wallet joining us with Adam and Vanessa.
Thank you.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hi. Is my camera on?
Not yet.
Camera's off.
I do not know how to. I put it on.
Evening, guys.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Sorry, give me a sec. I'll just okay there. I figured it out.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Okay, before we get started, could each of you just introduce yourself and what you do?
Okay, I'll go first. So my name's Atto. So I'm founder of Savvy Wallet. But day to day, I'm actually a senior business analyst at KPMG. So I've been there over 3 years. So I normally work with IT teams to deliver software solutions for our clients. I've been a BA for coming up 7 years this year. Aside from that, founder of Savvy Wallet. So I talk about finance because what I want to do is make it accessible to people who look like me, especially young people, because when I was growing up, I did not have, good teachers when it came to finance. I got into debt, I was spending on my overdraft. I didn't know what investing was. I didn't know how to save, didn't know about getting on some property ladder. So that's where my sort of inspiration came from. So.
Yeah, I'm happy to go next. Hi, I'm Warren Gosling. I work in the banking industry as a contractor, specialise in credit risk and operational risk. So as a contractor, I go around banks for 6 months at a time, been around sort of like most of the banks you can think of. That's pretty much what I specialise in. Outside of work, I run Instagram and the YouTube channel. I'm just really passionate about teaching financial literacy. From working in banking, particularly during 2008, dealing with credit risk, we saw a lot of businesses and people really struggle financially due to the state of the economy. And, that was my introduction into banking. And I really thought off the back of that, if people probably would have been a lot more versed in, financial literacy, a lot of, the trouble that people went through could have been saved or at least mitigated to an extent. So that's what I'm passionate about, and especially within our own community, because I feel like within our community, financial literacy isn't as high as perhaps in other communities. So I'm really passionate about bringing us up and even above, those standards.
Yeah, and I'm Peter. So I'm the founder of Conversation of Money, which is a YouTube channel. It's an Instagram account. It's also a podcast as well. But my background is I've worked in financial services now for 15 years, started off in retail banking, moved from there into corporate banking, which is working with businesses. Then I moved into wealth management. So I've worked in the investment side of the financial services industry now for the last 8 to 9 years. Qualified as a financial advisor back in 2014, qualified as a mortgage advisor back in 2016. So the content that I create now is all about investing primarily, but obviously talk about some of the basics around financial control, budgeting, all that good stuff, because you can't do any of that if you don't invest. You can't budget. If you don't budget, you're not going to be able to invest. So it's blocks. You've got to have the building blocks in place. So yeah, on the YouTube channel, it's all about that, educating people. Much like, Ato and Warren, financial education wasn't a thing in my household. So I was supposed to be the saving light of my family. They let me know that when I was 13 years old. So the financial burden and pressure that you feel from being the person who's supposed to support the rest of the family is definitely there. And I wish that I knew a lot of the stuff that I know now when I was in my 20s, when I first started in banking, which is why I do what I do now.
Thank you. And you all had a really kind of something strong about you all in terms of the strong background in finance. So one question that I really did want to ask you guys is why is it important to build wealth within our community?
Yeah, I mean, I think, when you look at the statistics, like outcomes in life, whether it's health, education, physical, mental health, your social status, definitely all correlated with your level of wealth, your level of your household income and your household wealth. So, I think, the stats are there, and I like to look quite a lot at the, Office for National Statistics. We all would have done our census in the last month. And that just kind of prompted me to have a look at some of those stats. And yeah, a lot of our outcomes in life are correlated with our wealth and with our income. And, I think for me personally, having worked in banking a lot like Peter and Ato, I think they might agree that, wealth really gives you freedom and it gives you options. I think somebody else said it's a tool. So I really do think it's as important as your physical health. Wealth is a key part of your holistic well-being for me.
Yeah, I think historically within our community, this is the challenge that I would like to kind of offer to people if I were to offer one. Traditionally, through our communities, we have a system or a process whereby wealth tends to flow upwards as opposed to downwards, right? So in other cultures, your parents pass down wealth to the kids, and that's available for generations. With us, it tends to be the opposite way around because we have to help parents and grandparents and those and family out. And I think, creating wealth is really important in order to basically not just turn that on its head, but make it more sustainable from both levels. I don't think as a community we'll walk away from having to pass some of that upwards, but we also need to be prepared to pass it downwards to our own generations, kids, grandkids, so on and so forth. So I think the key thing with today is that, unlike 20 odd years ago, information is readily available now. You can invest with £1, whereas, when I was in my 20s, you had to have, you know, £5,000 to £10,000 lying around to go see a financial advisor in a bank. So you had so many barriers of entry. Now, though, those things don't exist thanks to the internet, thanks to technology. Everyone has this information available to them. I just think it's really important to take time to understand the information that you're getting, so that you know what to do.
Yeah, I don't have much more to add to what Warren and Peter said. I think they said some really good things. I guess from my perspective, when I think about building wealth, like what am I trying to achieve? It's more than, I think about more than just my lifetime. I'm thinking about, you know, generations after me. So I feel like in terms of the wealth building, what it will do for our community is it will raise everything that we need. As Warren was saying before, money is a tool. So the way I see it is, if money is a tool, you know, our health should get better, our livelihoods get better, our standard of living gets better. And that's where it's important, because I feel like wealth, when it comes to money being a tool, it impacts everything else, right? So we may not go to, you know, the best schools, we might not have the right education. That then means, you know, at home, we might not be able to get good jobs to then, you know, pass it down. So I feel like wealth can definitely help you elevate in those other areas.
Yeah, definitely. And in terms of building your wealth, how can we do that? I feel like in terms of the Black community, our conversation surrounding wealth is quite different in comparison to other communities. For example, I go to Cambridge right now, and the conversations of wealth I hear are quite different in terms of if I speak to my white friends or if I talk to like my Asian friends and things like that. So I feel like, how can we as a Black community build our wealth? If it's not necessarily through education, what ways can we build our wealth?
I think education goes so far, right? You have to know what you're doing first and what the options are available to you. I always say this, you know, we should be taught this kind of stuff in school, but we're not. I mean, if you knew at age, I don't know, 11 or 12 that a thing called the stock market existed, then you would always have that as an option, as an avenue that's available to you. So I think education is one thing. I think it's the practical application of that education that makes the real big difference. I think there are some misconceptions within our community still that need to be had a look at. And again, information helps with that. But there are different ways you can, you know, start to generate wealth. I think for the most part, you know, think about property, you know, get on the property ladder first and foremost. You know, the house that you live in, although there are some sections of social media that will tell you that, you know, your house that you live in is not an asset, it's a liability. I beg to differ. Through years being a financial advisor in the industry, you know, get on the property ladder first. For most people, ordinary people, your residential property forms the biggest bulk of your net worth, essentially. Start from there. And then you start looking at, well, okay, to buy a house, you need to have your money in order, budgeting, all that kind of stuff. Then start to look at, you know, how you actually start investing into the stock market strategically to further that journey, and just know that it's going to be a long-term thing. I think the society today is too cued into instant gratification. We can have it right now. It can't take more than a year. Like, I'm looking for a year, 2 years max. No, this stuff is done over a longer extended period of time. And the beauty is, if you start in your 20s and you're really robust and strict, you know, £100 a month turns into $1 million very, very quickly over 30, 40 years. And, you know, it's all about options and choice, and it gives you that option and choice.
Yeah, I just to follow on from what Peter said, he hit the nail on the head. I mean, I invest in property. I've got 3 buy-to-lets. And if there's one thing that I wish I would have done, is to have done it earlier, because, I mean, I wasn't told in school, but when you look at the statistics, going back to statistics again, you know, the average price of a UK property is doubled roughly every 10 years. And I only started investing, I think it was like 5 years ago. So if I'd have used my money that I had in my 20s and put that towards the property, I'll be well on my way towards, you know, my target where I want to be. So yeah, I mean, you know, Peter and Atto said it in part as well. We don't learn this at school, but we are where we are. But also, you know, when you look into the stats as well, I think the 3 primary components of household wealth in the UK are pension wealth, property wealth, and, you know, financial assets. And again, like, you know, with the law as it is these days, I'm not a pension expert, but I know that, you know, for most employers, if you pay into it, they have to match it now. And, you know, it's essentially free money. So if you're not paying into your workplace pension scheme, you know, you might be missing out there. You might be 21 and you might be like, I just started my job and I'll worry about that later. But, you know, build it now, start as early as possible. And Peter touched on, you know, property wealth and also stock market. You know, those are, for me, the holy trinity.
Yeah, again, Peter and Warren hit the nail on the heads there. And I feel like education is definitely one of the most important things, because you don't know what you don't know, is what I always say. So, for example, lifestyle inflation, a lot of people wouldn't recognize it as a problem. They get a higher salary, therefore they'll rent something higher, they'll buy a fancy car. And then to them, they're thinking that they're moving up in life, but they're actually not moving up in life. So I feel like that education piece is very, very important for you to understand actually what is the difference between actually, you know, being rich, as they say, or actually building wealth. And as they said, property, you know, investing in the stock market, but also knowing, you know, what's a liability and what's an asset, and how to, you know, not run up too much debt. Because if you're, for instance, restricting your cash flow, have a lot of debts, but then maybe you're investing here and there, then you're not actually getting anywhere. So education is definitely very, very important. You need to understand, you know, what works for you and what doesn't work for you.
Thank you. And with the rise of everybody wanting to become, you see all the time, I'm seeing a lot of crypto ads, a lot of stock market ads in the bullish market that we're in. What should people be aware of when actually getting into investment? I know you touched on delayed gratification, all the type of stuff, but what do you think we as a community as a whole should be aware of?
Oh man, dude, I could talk about this all day. So listen, I've got it. If we're talking crypto specifically, we need to be a little bit careful with crypto. There is a lot of hype at the moment, and I've got something going on with my Instagram account right now. It's been happening all week. Someone's trying to impersonate me and then trying to use my good work on YouTube and the podcast to basically scam people into cryptocurrency trading products. We need to be very, very careful. I think whenever you go into anything, be it crypto or investing or property, whatever that might be, you have to do your research. The last thing you should be doing is listening to something online or listening to something down the pub or something your mate has said is, you know, all hyped up on TikTok and being like, I want a piece of that, without doing zero research. You have to do your research. So, you know, there are great opportunities. Technology, I mean, with crypto specifically, it's very, very, very exciting because it offers new prospects, new possibilities. But at the same time, how do you know that you're using a legitimate service and a non-legitimate service? We just need to be very, very careful and, you know, maybe take it with a pinch of salt. And by all means, please, 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 FOMO is one hell of a drug. Try not to fall foul to FOMO. Like, please don't. The fear of missing out, the stock market is still going to be there. Crypto is still going to be there. You don't have to get in right now, here and then. You can wait a week whilst you do your research, or 2 weeks whilst you do your research and speak to people. It's always going to be there as an opportunity.
Yeah, I totally agree. I can only speak from my personal experience, but I work in risk management in finance. So we are the pessimists of the bank. So we always have to look at the worst case scenario. So whenever there's, you know, a new project or a new initiative, you know, I'm that guy who's like, but what about this? And, you know, that's my job. So, you know, from an investing standpoint, you know, the worst case scenarios you really want to look at, you know, for example, with stock market investing, well, you know, how much am I prepared to lose? You know, only invest what you can afford to lose. From a property perspective, you know, if I'm investing in a property, I'm like, okay, how much money do I have to tide me over if I don't have any tenants, you know, for 3-6 months in a worst case scenario, if something goes wrong, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, Peter hit the nail on the head. Research is a key component of that. So to know the risks, you have to do your research. You don't just dive in because, you know, Bob at the pub said this new Bitcoin thing, it's the future, or this new Dogecoin thing is the future, when it's, you know, it's obviously not, but you need to have a certain level of maturity. And I think within our community in particular, you know, there's work to do, but it's nothing that can't be fixed in a relatively short amount of time with, you know, the right research and just becoming more well-versed. And stuff like this, this stream is a key part of that. So I love what you guys are doing.
Yeah, it's just as Peter Warren said, it's FOMO is very, very real. You know, when you start to hear these things on social media, you know, with Bitcoin, this has actually happened before. Like this happened back in 2017, end of 2017, 2018, because I was actually invested in Bitcoin back then. And it's just what happens, you know, people get very excited, everybody wants to get into it, it goes up, it crashes, people lose excitement, and then it happens again. So it's as they were saying, you have to do your research, because at the end of the day, right, everybody has a reason why they're investing in these, you know, things. Some of them is just to purely make money. Some of them is because they believe in maybe the asset. So you have to be careful, again, where you're getting your information from, and making sure that you understand yourself why you're actually investing into it. If it's just to make a quick buck, it's more than likely you're going to get burned, because there's going to be people manipulating it. So you've got to be very, very, very careful. The sort of people that you have to be very, very careful is people that are showing off, you know, maybe fancy cars, fancy watch, or yeah, you know, I did this in a day or whatever. They're probably lying. They don't own that car. They haven't done anything. They're just scamming somebody. So just be very, very careful.
Yeah, and I think I'll just add one thing, because we're talking about crypto and it's quite topical. So actually this week, and this has come out over the last couple of days or so, there's a guy who started a cryptocurrency, and he's literally disappeared with $2 billion. $2 billion. That's 300,000 customers. There's an international manhunt for him right now. That actually happened this week. You can go and Google it. So please, please, please be careful. You don't know what you're buying into. You need to do your research. You just need to make sure that you're completely comfortable, and, you know, only invest the amount that you can comfortably afford to lose without, you know, it affecting you drastically.
And in terms of our community, how important do you think representation in this kind of building wealth is? Seeing people like us investing and kind of building on their wealth rather than, as you were talking about, instant gratification. How important do you think it is to have people that look like us doing this and then teaching our community, teaching younger people about it?
Oh, really important. This is why, you know, this kind of panel is great, because at the end of the day, you need examples to look up to. I mean, I worked in Canary Wharf. I was very, very lucky at the time. I started as a telephone boy. In 5 years, I went from telephone boy all the way to the executive team. And I was the only black guy to do it in the UK. Actually, in Canary Wharf, we were on the 50th floor. There were about 500 of us on that floor. There were 3 black guys. And I was the only one to make it to the exec team, the first guy to actually be able to do it. And I think that's really important, because I know that there are kids who will look into Canary Wharf like I did years and years and years ago when I was doing music, thinking I would love to be there, but I don't belong there because I don't have a university degree. And I think, you know, I don't have a university degree, but I made it there anyway. And I think that for younger kids to be able to see that actually there are people that look like them in a place like that is so, so powerful, because it's exposure. You don't know what you don't know until you know you don't know it. You don't know that something is possible until you see that it is possible. And just being able to have people, you know, in that environment, number one, just to mix up the culture. And believe it or not, in places like Canary Wharf, it is a very certain type of like personality that you see in those kind of areas. We need to be there to mix it up. We need to be there to represent. We need to be there to give our opinions, our flavors, our perspectives on life. Because at the end of the day, those kind of high level echelon arenas don't change if it's all just the same people. So representation is so, so important.
Yeah, I can completely relate to what you're saying in terms of like my application process to Cambridge. There was a point where I was like, this is not for me. There's no one who looks like me there, until I actually attended like a ACS conference where they were like, guys, there's not many of us, but you can do it, and it is a possibility. And I think in terms of being in that space and kind of representing our community in that space, it's really powerful, especially for the younger generations. I can completely see a resemblance in your journey. But Warren, do you have answers to the question as well?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, you know, I'm doing okay in life now, but I grew up in a council estate in Southeast London, single parent household, you know, so it wasn't until I actually, not to give you my life story, but until I got a scholarship actually to a private school, and then through having kind of my horizons broadened, and seeing, you know, some faces like mine, but just being in that environment, you know, I'm pretty sure I was the only one from my council estate who made it into a private school and into a uni, and now this industry. So it's all about opportunities, isn't it? So when you see people like you in positions where you might not normally associate people like you being, it encourages you to take those gambles, if you want to call them then, and put yourself forward. And I would say, once you're there and you've made it, it's really important to bring, yourself. Peter kind of touched on it, but to not fully or completely assimilate to what's there and what's been there for hundreds of years, but to not lose yourself in that process. And I think, for me personally, that was very important and kept me sane, being in Canary Wharf, being in all of these banks and working in these environments. It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience. But I do think it's important to, remember where you came from so that you can reach back and not pull up the ladder behind you, once you make it.
Yeah, again, I agree with what Peter and Warren were saying. It's funny actually, because what Peter said, I had the exact same thing about working in Canary Wharf. I was working at my previous company, client for the Home Office, I used to go past Canary Wharf, and I was like, yeah, I definitely want to work here. And then finally my dream came true. Finally worked there, and I feel like it's very important for us to have representation. Warren alluded to it earlier. The simple fact is if we don't have that representation there, we don't have any sort of what's the word to say? I've lost my train of thought. We can't share our own experience if we don't have any sort of influence there, and then we can't bring others with us as well, right? And then from the flip side of it, we don't then have that inspiration, right? So for me, both my parents went to university, so that was all right. I had that to look up to, but a lot of people don't have that in life. They don't have somebody to look up to aside from, I don't want to be rude, but aside from like rappers or footballers or anything like that. We need to say that actually black people can be lawyers, we can be CEOs of businesses, and it takes for us to be there to show that representation, to be like, I want to go to Oxford, I can be a CEO of a company and I can have that confidence. On the other side as well, it helps with, sometimes me working in KPMG, I do have imposter syndrome. Am I supposed to be working in a place like this? Like, really, I'm here? And I say, yeah, I deserve to be here, right? They employed me, so I deserve to be here. So it's very, very important. It's definitely such a powerful thing.
Yeah. Thank you. And you guys spoke about so many amazing things that I know a lot of people can get a lot of value from. So if people were to actually find you on social media or your websites, how can people actually go about contacting you and finding more about what you do?
Yeah, so I'm on YouTube as Conversation of Money. That's the YouTube channel. The podcast is called the Conversation of Money Podcast. So you can find that on Spotify, all of the good podcast outlets. Then there's conversationofmoney.com, which is the website. And then Instagram, Conversation of Money as well. It's all Conversation of Money all over the socials.
Yeah, I'm at Warren Gosling on Instagram and Twitter. So if you want to get in contact with me directly, any questions or any ideas, whatever it is, the weather, contact me on there. And I'm Warren Gosling on YouTube.
Yeah. So myself, so Savvy Wallet on Instagram and YouTube. Couldn't get Savvy Wallet on Twitter, so Savvy Wallet 1 on Twitter. So yeah, as Warren and Peter said, just reach out to me for any questions. I'm happy to help out.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today with all of your tips and tricks. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
So next up we have Black Wall Street, and Jonas is going to join me back again.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm really good, thanks. I've been sitting backstage and just listening to the interesting topics of conversation, real good food for thought. And I'm learning a lot myself. So yeah, really interesting. How are you guys?
We're doing good.
Yeah, good.
So before we get started, could you just introduce who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So good evening, my fine people. My name is Natasha Vigil. My friends call me Tasha. and I am the founder of Black Wall Street London, which is the Afrocentric exhibition, marketplace, and business development hub. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Cool. And how does your business help people / businesses in the Black community?
Well, Black Wall Street London, we currently support over 100 Black-owned businesses via our physical location events, our virtual market, and our online business events. So basically, we host a series of events created to showcase Black-owned businesses, and we help them to spread brand awareness, business knowledge, and the message of collaboration. So, you know, what does that look like? When you're talking about Black-owned businesses within the community, we basically provide accessible and affordable workspace and business trading space. So these businesses can come along to our events and they can showcase and sell their brands and products and kind of shout from the rooftops who they are. And this basically provides, you know, solutions to the strategic challenges experienced by entrepreneurs today, you know, the unconscious bias. And when you're thinking about, you know, the public, the people, and what does this look like? So in regards to attendees, we kind of encourage them to come along, connect up with startup businesses, existing businesses, entrepreneurs across a number of different industries, and basically share product knowledge, experience, inspiration, and enjoy the show. Yeah.
And in terms of what you do, what was the vision for the business? And can you talk a little bit about the Black Million campaign?
Oh, wow. So, yeah, this is such a good question because, I mean, the vision or our mission, it's huge. So first off, we want to purchase our own premises for Black Wall Street London. So that basically will enable us to establish ourselves as a permanent fixture in the UK. And to continue our good work in, you know, echoing it again, in just providing accessible and affordable workspace and business trading space. You know, for us, this is not just a moment, it's a movement. And when we're done there, we don't just want to stop with, you know, purchasing our own building. What we want to do is duplicate the process and financially support and reinvest in other Black businesses. So, you know, when you're asking about the Black Million campaign, it's a community fundraising campaign, essentially, created around us, Black Wall Street London, and a series of organised events that we put on with the purpose of raising capital, you know, again, spreading brand awareness, business knowledge, the message of collaboration, and to reinvest in Black-owned business. So, yeah, it's kind of a huge mission, but doable. You know, we have to manifest our dreams into existence for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is a huge mission. And I wanted to ask because the things that are worth having in life are challenging, right? And for the Black community for a long time, not all of us, but a lot of us have struggled with our finances. And I haven't personally, not to be rude or anything, because I'm still like young, right? So I haven't had any. I got a bit of bills on the side, but I can manage that right now. I haven't had to pay for a house and mortgage and stuff like that, so I'm lucky right now. But you never know what can happen in the future. And in the Black community, a lot of us, because I will say us within like our brothers and sisters, because we are brothers and sisters in our community, a lot of us have struggled with finances in the past. So how important is it to build wealth within the community, and why is it so important, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's definitely an issue, and it's great that we're addressing these issues. You know, I was listening to the guys before myself, and you know, they have a plan, a strategic plan, whereby it's really important for us to, echoing what they said, not just think of plan A, B, and C, but to actually think of the worst case scenarios when we're going into all of these schemes that we're interested in. But for me, how important is it to build wealth in the community? It's the most important thing, because we're talking about generational wealth, you know, and by creating opportunities to like develop and start new businesses, what we're doing is providing an abundance of value that we can pass on, that can be passed down, and creating new jobs and opportunities for generations to come is the key to our success, you know. And then you think about, well, why should we be doing this? One word is legacy, you know, leaving the gift of legacy. You know, our Black Wall Street London policy solution is basically to just improve access to credit and resources, and, you know, create that family culture where success is the norm, you know, and, you know, pass that down to, like I said, generations to come. So for me personally, not even for me personally, I think as a community, as a culture, it is the most important aspect of why we're building wealth, generational wealth within our communities. It needs to be something that we pass down for generations to come, and that it's not a dream that we're trying to reach, that it does just become a norm, just like in any other culture.
Definitely. And in terms of generational wealth, the other day, I was actually reading an article about how, in terms of the Black community, they made it really difficult for us to form that generational wealth. For example, they, in terms of housing segregation and preventing us from buying houses and things like that, which is one of the ways in which we can invest in the future generations, they made it really difficult. So it really highlights how important it is of having the Black Wall Street and kind of highlighting this campaign in the community. But just in terms of what support do you need from the community? What can we do for you guys to help you continue and build this legacy?
I mean, this is amazing, but let me just take it back to what you just said. I think it's also very important for us, for my generation, you know, I'm 45 plus, your generation and younger generation, is to keep manifesting our future. If we tell our story that we are in chains and we're bound, that will be. So it's about changing that mindset, you know, and we know what we can't do. We know what we haven't been able to do, but now we have to move forward, tunnel vision, and focus on manifesting and speaking our destiny into a reality. You know, this is really important as well, because if we're going to tell our sad story, our story will always be sad, you know, and that's not about me just saying, okay, let's flip the script and pretend what happened never happened. Yes, but we rest on our laurels in doing that. So it's really important, again, as a culture, that we flip our mindset. It is as easy as flipping a switch. As much as we can stay in that stance, we can move forward, and we can literally, you know, benefit on what our ancestors have done for us. You know, they did that for a purpose. They didn't do that for us to be, you know, they didn't fight the fight for us to be standing in the same stance. They fought the fight for us to be moving forward in a beneficial way to the community as a whole. But yeah, what can you do for us? You know, for me, it's literally, I mean, I'm passionate about what I do, you can tell. And it's more about what I can do for you guys, because in me asking for help, it's actually, you know, about us building something for us, by us, you know. So going back to what I just said, it's more like, as a community, we kind of need to level up and not just talk the talk, but kind of walk the walk as well. You know, as I said, the Black Million campaign, it was created to raise capital to build a building for us, a premises for Black Wall Street London. But in turn, that's not just a building sitting there. That is a building for, you know, generational wealth, whereby we can invest in economic growth and independence, whereby we are providing our own Black-owned businesses with accessible and affordable workspace and business trading space, you know. So it's about giving back into the community. And again, that's not all. Once we're done with our building, we want to keep duplicating this over and over. So, you know, every 6 months, maybe we can kind of reinvest in this charity or this organization, or starting this new business up. You know, so it's about a message of collaboration being the key to our success, and that it should be done with the community as a focal point. You know, let's kind of tear down that wall of competition and replace it with collaboration. And it's definitely a time to act. So, you know, I'm asking, yeah, invest in us, you know, and if you can't invest in us, if you can't afford to invest in us, help us to spread the word, help us to spread the business knowledge, help us to spread the brand awareness, you know. But yeah, definitely invest in yourselves, invest in our future. That's what we're asking.
I love that. I love that bit about collaboration, because I don't feel that as a community we do that enough. And I think we're starting to do it now, but for a long time it's been kind of us competing with each other, when really we should be joining together. Because look at the Jewish community, they joined together how many years ago, and look how they're thriving, and the Asian community. So we need to kind of emulate that in our own way. And just as a final question for you, how can people find you on social media, and even where is Black Wall Street London located?
Listen, I mean, Jonas, you were flying these questions out, but you're also hitting some great points, both of you, you know, that, you know, I kind of want to spend a little bit more time on when you're talking about collaboration and stuff. It is a really important aspect. And I think it's not so much, you know, I mean, we have to be giving ourselves pats on the back all the way along. there's so many people, there's so many platforms like this, like Black Wall Street London, all doing amazing work on pavement level, on ground level. I think what we're missing is just that connecting of the dots. You know, so when you're talking about collaboration is key, yeah, we can all do this alone. It's going to take us a lot longer. You know, so many of us are doing pretty much the same thing as well. You know, so if we were to just kind of, let's jump in the melting pot and kind of get there together faster, we can do this, you know. But yeah, where can people get in touch? You guys got me excited. I want to talk for a while now. But it's simple. It's www.blackwallstreetlondon.com. That's our official website. And you can go on there and you can see all of our social media handles. But Instagram, for example, is at BWSL2020. But primarily official website, www.blackwallstreetlondon.com.
Thank you so much for joining us. That's www.blackwallstreet.com, if I got that correct.
Black Wall Street London.
Black Wall Street London, my mistake. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Been a pleasure, you guys, and you're doing great, great, great work. Keep it up.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Take care.
And now Amina and Adam are going to join back with us.
Hi.
Hey.
And so our next guests tonight are WYZ Money Course.
Good evening.
Hello, thank you so much for having us. Hi.
Hi. How you doing?
Yeah, we're really good, thanks. We're really happy to be here. Thank you so much for having us.
No worries.
Thank you so much for joining us. So just to get started, could you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yes, so we are Open Palm Charity. We're a charity that registered last year, 1st of July 2020. And we basically set ourselves up really in response to a lot of the issues we saw after the killing of George Floyd. So I'm Sophie.
Yep, and I'm Ralph.
And we're the co-founders of Open Palm. And we, after the killing of George Floyd, just really reflected and said, the injustice that's happening in the US is also happening in the UK and in other countries around the world. It takes a different form, but there are a lot of issues affecting the community that we think we can collectively start working on. So we put our heads together, we thought about our backgrounds. I'm a lawyer and Ralph's a chartered accountant, and we said together, there's stuff that we can do here. So out of that, Open Palm was born, and the charity has two main aims. The first one is to make education more accessible. And what we mean by that is making sure that people can engage with lessons and can access schooling irrespective of the colour of their skin or how much money they have. And what I saw, especially in lockdown 1, being a school governor in my spare time, is seeing that schools were working really hard and teachers were working really hard to deliver lessons online, but it was kids that had limited devices in their households or poor internet connections that were really struggling. And a lot of those people were in our community. Then the second thing we wanted to do is promote racial equality and just really give equal opportunities to people. We're passionate about levelling the playing field and making sure that people of ethnic minorities can succeed. So we've started building life skills courses. One of them is Wise Money, which is a financial literacy course. It's free and it gives young people an accreditation. And it really teaches all the things that young people should know about money that's not taught in school at the moment. So we're super excited about it.
Thank you. And one of your key aims is to help young people with financial education. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you was what is the importance of financial education for young people?
Adam, that's a brilliant question. These days, if you think about it, money it's more like just numbers on a screen. We're using cash less and less. And because of that, we're having to rethink about how we understand money and the different value that money really has. I mean, we interact with money on a daily basis, but not many people truly understand all the different concepts and ideas around money. Like if you think about it, even many adults don't really understand all of the different things on their payslip, how their different taxes are calculated, where their money goes to. And this is even before talking about things like interest and compounding and all of these other kind of big things. So we also think that around money, there's a lot of misconception that's about how much money you can earn. Like you need to have this big salary in order to be successful, but that's really not true. It's all about making smart decisions with the money you have. It's all about how much money you can keep rather than how much money you can spend. So all of these things tied together impacts our lives on a daily basis. And again, this is one of the reasons why we want to teach it, because we want young people to grow up into adults making really good financial decisions.
And another really frustrating thing is in our community, when you look at government stats about household income by ethnicity, who's at the bottom of the pile? It's Black communities, it's mixed ethnicity households that are always ranking at the bottom of the pile in terms of income. And then if you look at how much money as a Black community we spend a fortune. We're big consumers, but we don't earn typically the same salaries as our white counterparts, and we're not good at saving and reinvesting money. So again, this course is really trying to address some of those issues and just for the next generation, getting people in a better position to be more financially stable.
Oh, thank you so much for that. You mentioned a little bit earlier about just in terms of like people understanding their pay slips and the different bits that come out of it. And so why do you think a lot of this like extra financial education isn't taught in schools?
It's a very good question. So we've actually spoken with a lot of schools about this because we try to push our course to the schools as well. And it simply comes down to resources at the end of the day. Schools have a lot of things which they want to do, but there isn't necessarily always the funding to support all of those things that they want to do. And if you think about it, it's really tough for schools because there's no one place on earth you can go to learn everything, right? You need to get knowledge from different places along the way. I'm an accountant, for example, and I went to different schools and colleges and universities, but I also learn outside of those institutions. I learn from different things like TED Talks and other great resources out there. So it's all about learning from different resources, and different places will teach about things quite differently as well. So if you think about it, a teacher in school might be great at teaching you maths, English and science, but they may not have the business and industry experience to talk about how money might work in a business, right? So again, it's all about getting your knowledge from different places.
Another really important thing is for us, the Wise Money course is practical life skills. So it's not academic. We're not teaching really about the theory of money. What we're teaching about are key skills to get people ready to use money. And we're teaching 13 to 17-year-olds, typically before or just around the time people are getting their first jobs, and they really need to understand their pay slips and other things. We're also teaching skills, as we talked about, for financial responsibility, getting people understanding how to budget and how to save. And what's really important on our course is it includes people that are in the financial profession. So we've got people that are in the investment sector, for example, people that are in financial services that are actually talking about financial literacy in a practical sense. And we've got that representation as well. So people from the community are seeing people in finance that look like them, that are teaching skills that are practical for success in the financial sector moving forward, and just for success in how to manage your money. So for us, it's really important to tackle the financial education. We see ourselves as an early intervention charity. So we're really trying to teach this information early so that people can make really positive decisions for the future.
Thank you. One other question that I wanted to ask. I know you guys target young people, but what is the thing that drove you towards young people? What is it that you saw in them that you wanted to actually impart the wisdom of financial education to them?
Yes, it's a great question. I mean, we both have worked with young people for a lot of our adult lives. So I mentioned earlier that I'm still a school governor in my spare time. And Ralph has been a school trustee as well. We've both mentored and we've worked with young people over a long time. We've also got nephews and nieces and people that we care about in the younger generation. And we really feel like for the next generation, people are ready and willing to learn this stuff. And if you're able to teach this information early in young people's formative years, they're going to make a really, really positive decision and develop really positive habits moving forward. So for us, it's really important to intervene early and to teach young people skills before they actually truly need to apply them. so that they're starting to learn and they're starting to get the information, and they can start building really positive habits, so that when they do get that first job, or if they're in their first job, they can start developing these skills early, so that they're not in a situation where we see the government stats about household income and financial well-being in the community. They're not in that group when they get older.
And the other thing, just to add to that, is everything we do in our course, we imagine that we're telling ourselves when we were your age, for example. We always think, well, all the things we wanted to know about money when we were that age, when we were younger. In our communities, the conversation around money doesn't really come up at home, in our home settings. When, for example, I didn't know when I was growing up what all the different bills were that my mum would pay or my dad would pay. That's just not always the conversation which is going on. So we feel like this is some of the things which we need to kind of put out there to give you that information early. You might not need to go out and pay a bill, but it's nice to know about it, so that when it does happen, like Sophie said, you're in a position to understand that, right, I know what this is, I know what council tax is, I understand roughly what it means and how it's calculated, so that you can make that right decision when it comes to actually using it. So again, we're all about targeting so that you get that knowledge before you actually have the money in your hand to then make that decision.
And when we talk about, we mentioned earlier that people in our community, we're great at spending money. We are very, very valuable consumers for the economy. We are big buyers when it comes to brands and big expensive holidays, expensive cars and so on. But we're not good at saving. And there's studies that show how long a pound stays in, say, the Black community versus other communities, and we're terrible. The money just doesn't stay. We're not good at reinvesting. We're not good at saving. We're not good at keeping money. We are very, very good at money going out, but not good at keeping it in. And so these skills for these young people are really important, so that they can learn early, get the information early, get the skills early, be hopefully inspired to make good decisions, because they're not just receiving this information in an academic way, in a school setting. They're seeing the representation, they're seeing people that look like them, that are in the sector, that are practicing this now, and they're able then to say, okay, I've got the information, I've got the tools, I'm going to change my habits, I'm going to do something different, maybe to my parents, or maybe to my elders, or maybe to my older siblings. I'm going to make different decisions, and hopefully that means that we'll be able to help them change the course of things, so that they're not in those statistics that we talked about earlier, moving forward.
And just one more thing, sorry, I know we've spoken quite a bit on this, but we also want you guys to kind of go on the course, get the knowledge, be able to use it the next day, but also get that accreditation. So this is another thing you can put on your CV. You've got a personal short course finance certificate, which is from a nationally recognized body. So again, it's another tool in your armor, isn't it? You can go out to your first job interview or your first uni interview and say, right, I've done all these things. I've done the educational side, and I'm aware about my own personal finances. I've done a little bit more than all the people around me. So again, we just think it's about having that additional tool in your armor to help you progress through life.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I think that's so important, especially even like when going to interviews, as you said, and showing them those extra credentials, because I realize in the Black community, especially when myself going through assessment centers and stuff like that, there's not a lot of representation for us. But even when there is, it's like we have to go the extra mile in order to kind of be in that position and get as far as that.
Adam, I'm glad you mentioned that, actually, because kind of related to what you just said, you're talking about representation in the workplace and skills for success in the workplace.
Yeah.
We are just about to launch another course called Wise for Work, and that's aimed again at Black, mixed heritage, ethnic minority young people, preparing young people for the workplace. It's an employability skills program, also gives an accreditation, again, seeing and hearing from people that look like us. And it's really important to just get young people ready, because again, the stats around representation in the workplace, especially when it gets to top leadership roles, is really poor. So again, early intervention to get people ready for that. And I see that, I help, and I have in my career worked in assessment centres as part of my job, where I've supported interviewing people, etc. And unfortunately, representation in the community is really poor at assessment centres as well.
Yeah, that's definitely something I recognize. Thank you for touching on that, because I definitely know that's something that is needed, like right now. So yeah, the perfect time to start that.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's been great to learn about the courses that you're doing. And so just before we do end with you guys. Could you tell us about how people can find you and access your courses?
Yes, absolutely. So the best way to find us and enroll on our courses is to go to our website, which is www.openpalm.org.uk. And all of our courses are completely free of charge. So if you're interested in going on the Wise Money course or enrolling your son, your daughter, your niece, your nephew, then please do go on the website and go through that. Enrollment's super quick, and it's all online. It's pre-recorded, so young people can literally go through that process and start learning pretty quickly. In terms of social media, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter. So please have a look for us at Open Palm Charity.
And just before you go, is there any words that you would like to say to any young people, specifically about your course or anything that you're doing, and like any last words?
Yeah, I mean, for young people, I'd just love to say you guys are awesome. Keep going. It's been a really, really tough last year and a bit, and that is recognised. But your resilience is absolutely incredible. Another thing we want to say is just to encourage you. You know, things are changing, and for your generation, the future is looking really, really bright. And you're in a situation, young people, where there's so many organisations and there's so much interest in trying to invest in you and getting you into the best possible position that you can be for success. We are here as a resource. We're a completely free resource. We're a charity, so we just raise money from the public. We are committed to making sure our courses are free. Please come on to our financial literacy program, learn about budgeting, learn about pay slips, learn key skills, so that if you go into the workplace or if you're running your own business, you are prepared for that and you're able to keep as much money as you can instead of just spending it and seeing it go. So our course is designed for you. It's designed to make sure that you're properly represented on the course. You will see people that look like you. You'll hear from people that look like you, and you'll learn skills for success and get an accreditation in the process, which is really important.
Yeah, and just like Sophie said, just keep plugging in, keep using those resources, keep building each other up, and honestly, looking at your generation now, you guys are in a fantastic position, and I know you guys will do way better than we could ever imagine we could ever do. So just keep at it, just absorb everything, stay positive, and you guys will go far.
We're here for you, so please visit us on the website, follow us on social media, see what we're doing, and keep an eye out for our new course as well that's coming up. It's going to be awesome, and again, all here just to benefit you. We're all doing this in our spare time. None of us are being paid to do this. We are just here for passion and to really improve the next generation's prospects of success. So please do take advantage of the resources that are out there. They're here for you, so do it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you guys have been amazing. Thank you for the wisdom that you shared, and I wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Nice to meet you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I'd like to welcome back Vanessa and Boss International.
Oh, it's just loading. Up next, we actually have Daniela from She's the Boss International. If it's loading. Every week we have technical difficulties.
Yep. It's fine. I think it's just something, there has to be a little hitch somewhere.
Yeah.
Hello.
While we're waiting, I think Michael's gonna put up a video.
If you're buying, make sure you have a cutoff point, because even when you take out the equity, you end up repaying. Make sure that you're handing over properties to your children that are debt-free. Educate your children in terms of how to handle those debt-free properties when they get it. Don't be so eager to push them out and say, start on your own, because that's why we're in the situation we're in, because every generation have started on their own. And one final word, get a will. Do not let the state take your hard work and put it back into the Duchy of Cornwall. Look guys, we have a legacy. Let's build on it. If not for our sakes, then certainly for our grandchildren and their grandchildren's sake. Thank you.
We're gonna try again with Daniela from She's the Boss International. There we go, it's working now.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear us?
I can just about hear you. I don't know what's happening because it's saying that my connection is strong, but I can't hear you properly. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah. Oh, no. It might be lagging a little bit. Well, if you can hear us, could you just start off with telling us who you are and what you do? Oh, okay. We're just going to try and get that working again. But once again, thank you so much for joining us today on our live stream. We've got so much good information from everyone. And it's really important, as you've heard, to kind of invest in your community and lay those foundations so we can build on that generational wealth and kind of build up the Black community like so many other communities have been doing. I think we're going to get on Emmanuel with Jonas and Adam instead, just due to that technical difficulty, so do bear with us. Oh, no.
It's working. I can hear you.
Can you hear us now?
Great.
Yeah, sorry. Oh my gosh, that's the worst when the technicals don't work. I'm back. I can hear you. You can hear me.
Okay.
It's working.
No problem. Could you just start off with telling us who you are and what you do?
Okay, so hi, my name is Daniela Ginas. I am the founder of She's the Boss International. I'm a business growth strategist and innovation expert. I essentially work with entrepreneurs and small business owners, helping them grow their businesses, and specifically helping them to ensure that their businesses are profitable, sustainable, and systems driven. So She's the Boss is my third business. Started my first business in 2007, sold it in 2015, started my second business in 2013, which my business partner brought me out of in 2015. And since then, I've been supporting small, medium-sized business owners with growth and innovation. That's me.
Thank you so much. So you mentioned you had a few previous businesses that you owned. Could you tell us a bit more about them and why you decided to move on from them when you
So
did?
the first business, which is really the main one, that was called Aspire for You, and it's still operational. Started that as initially a youth event management company. So the idea was to organize events for young people. It then developed into becoming a community interest company, which is a social enterprise that is what I always say, it was for more than profit. So we provide training opportunities for young people from marginalized backgrounds in the areas of event management, performing arts, digital arts, and entrepreneurship. And the idea was that we'd use the funds from coordinating corporate celebration events, so awards, dinners, Christmas parties, networking things, to then fund the training. However, we got a lot of funding very early on. I was very good at writing funding applications, so managed to get like 7 funds back to back to back to back. Grew the business to 6 figures, had 8 members of staff, and then realized it wasn't sustainable. It's very heavily reliant upon both me and also the funding. So went down the route of trying to secure investment to bring in a kind of head of sales to support me with the corporate sales of the business. Got through to the final stages of the investment program, had the investment confirmed, and the day I was due to sign it off officially, they said, come back in 6 months when you've hit your sales target. And at that point, I was heavily pregnant, about to give birth to my daughter, and had a number of other personal issues going on. Gone from 8 members of staff to 1 member of staff, and knew that in order for me to kind of continue with the business, I would have had to pretty much not have any maternity leave and do everything myself, and I didn't really want to do that. So I actually initially made the decision to close the business, and then some guy, I always say some guy because I don't really know or remember where he came from. He said he wanted to start a social enterprise, and actually because we had quite a strong reputation and a good track record, he said he'd buy my business. So I sold the business, had my daughter in July, sold the business in August. And then with my other business, that was also an event management company, but we specialized in weddings. It was the alternative wedding and events company. And my motivation for that business was I was getting married. My husband is Nigerian, I'm Jamaican, and we really struggled finding wedding kind of venues, wedding suppliers that really catered to cross-cultural weddings. And my friend who'd got married a couple of years before us, him and his wife are Jamaican, but they had found similar struggles. So we decided to set up that business. But then when I had my baby, I was like, do I really want to go to wedding fairs every weekend when I should be at home doing family time? So I kind of made the decision, okay, I don't want to do that anymore either. And yeah, after kind of whilst on my MBA and studying for my MBA, because I'd had quite a lot of success with the previous two businesses, I was getting a lot of people coming in asking me for coaching, for consultancy, to support them with their businesses. So I decided, why not just launch as a consultancy and coaching business, and that's what I've done ever since.
Amazing. It's so lovely hearing people's journeys. I think it's really important because we often look at where people are and don't look at where they've come from or the journey that they've been on to get there. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. So in terms of what you do now, how do you help small and medium enterprises grow?
So through a combination, so I always say I provide a combination support service. So I do coaching, consultancy, training, and I do a lot of the kind of delivery on either a one-to-one or a group basis. I have 5 specific areas that I focus on. I've developed something called the Visa model. So I start with vision, helping small business owners to really get clarity on what their vision is. And I've developed something called Vision 20. So I work with business owners to map out a 3-year strategic vision for their business with goals and action plan. And I have a really great success rate with the Vision 20 process. So even this last couple of weeks, actually, I've had conversations with people that I did Vision 20 with 2 or 3 years ago, who right now are moving into the offices that we mapped out 2 to 3 years ago. So I love that. It's my favorite. Then I do something called Build My Strategy, which kind of focuses more on innovation and obviously strategy. And that's something that most business owners need. So it's not just having a great idea, it's how do we strategically take it to market? How do we look at what's going on in the marketplace? So I really kind of delve deeper into that. And also around innovation, so developing new ideas, new ways of doing things. I also focus, because of my experiences with my first business being quite reliant on me, one of the things that I also offer is something called Build My Business. And that is about this concept of building businesses that are reliant on systems and processes and not on individuals within the business. So I help my clients to map out the whole systems and processes for their businesses, put together an operations manual, physical and a digital one, and help them to kind of onboard staff, train staff in how to use the systems. I also have a variety of accountability programs that I run, and I'm in the process of kind of creating a suite of products and further online training. But all of it is centered around Visa. So vision, innovation, strategy, systems and processes, and accountability. And in terms of success stories and results, I've had clients that started with me turning over under £1,000 a month who are in the process of becoming 7-figure businesses. I've had people come start 4-figure businesses, grown into 6-figure businesses, become award-winning business owners. As I said, move into the office. One of my clients, and I love their story because when I met them, turning over about £700 a month. They're a 6-figure business right now. They've just moved into ASOS's former offices in Birmingham, taken on several members of staff. So the process, the systems, the processes that I've developed and the methodologies, I've proven that they work with the clients that I've worked with. And yeah, I enjoy it. It makes me happy to see the development of the clients that I work with.
That is absolutely amazing just to hear about, I think, the extent that your work goes to in terms of transforming businesses, irrespective of what they are and what they do. And so our next question is, what tips do you have to give to people within the community about growing their own businesses?
So many. Number one is be very clear on what success looks like for you. So kind of starting with the end in mind. I think what a lot of us do, particularly from our communities, is we say we want to do a business to help our community, or we want to do a business because we want to make money, but we don't ever quantify it, and we're not very specific. And what I always advocate for is be very specific. So what are you trying to do? Are you trying to build a 6-figure or 7-figure business? Do you want to have offices? Do you want to have staff, or do you want to outsource? Do you want to be based in the UK? Do you want to just have a purely online business? What kind of clients do you want to work with? Be very specific and write that down. And then make sure that you research and you plan. So don't just start, look, I've had this idea, I've woken up today, it sounds good, let me do it. It's actually, no, I've decided this is what I want to do. I'm clear on what the end looks like, but I've also done research to determine that there's a market that people want to buy whatever it is that I'm trying to sell. I've planned how I'm going to kind of communicate with them to get them interested in my products and services. And I think that's really key. So planning and research. And then my mantra, and I don't know if you can see it behind me. It's probably better. Think big, take action, keep pushing. That's my top advice that I always give to everyone. So think big, don't restrict yourself. So in that kind of vision development, starting with the end in mind process, don't restrict yourself by where you're at today. And I think sometimes we do that as well. Like, oh, today I'm starting with nothing. So the concept of turning over 250 grand in 4 years is totally unreasonable. I can't do it. Decide what you want, and don't let anybody or even yourself talk you down from it, and then take action. So be strategic with the steps that you take, with your planning, with your idea generation, with identifying your target market, with doing market research to determine whether they're interested in what you're going to sell. And then the final part of that is the keep pushing bit. I've encountered so many trials and tribulations and challenges and obstacles and setbacks on the journey, and without this kind of bounce back ability, resilience, and just through sheer determination, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm at. And I'm still not where I want to be in the long term, but I'm way further ahead than where I planned to be even now, to be honest. So keep pushing, I think, is really important. Don't let anything kind of throw you so far off track that you can't get back on. That would be the advice that I'd give.
Oh, that's absolutely amazing. So in terms of businesses, what common mistakes do you see from people trying to be entrepreneurs?
So many. I think a lot of the time people think passion alone is enough. Like, I'm passionate about it and I'm going to work hard, and that's enough. Passion and just doing it. But it's actually not. So as I said, you need to be quite strategic. So making sure that you're very clear on who your target customers or clients are, and making sure you know everything that there is to know about them, and tailor your products and services and even your marketing to answer or solve whatever problem that they may have, or to make sure you're communicating clearly to them and attracting them to buy what you're selling. One of the other mistakes that people make is they spend far too much time being purely operational. So I run a business that, I don't know, I can't think of an example off the top of my head, make shoes, let's just say. And on a day-to-day basis, I'm just spending all my time making shoes, but I'm not spending any time looking at strategic partnerships. I'm not spending any time doing financial forecasting. I'm not spending any time looking at the risks in the marketplace. And then when those things start to fall down, then I'm panicking, like, oh my gosh, what's happened? But actually, if you're spending 100% of your time only doing operational tasks, that's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So definitely, I would say a huge mistake is being more operational than strategic and not finding that balance. And another thing is taking a business-centered approach as opposed to a customer or client-centered approach. So what does that mean? It means focusing on what you want and what you think is best for the business, as opposed to what the customer or the client wants and what's best for them. And I heavily advocate for this with my clients and say you have to have a customer-centered approach. So I think I alluded to it before. You can't just come up with a business idea and think, well, it's my idea and I like it and that's what I'm going to do and it works out. No, focus on your customers and your clients. Ask them for feedback when you're trying to be more innovative. Bring them in, have conversations, find out what would work for them. Like I am quite obsessive with continually trying to improve the customer or the client for me, because I work with my clients, trying to improve the client experience. And because of that, I have been able to retain clients for several years at a time. Like I've got clients that I'm working with now that started working with in 2018. And that's because I am obsessive about taking a client-centered approach. So I regularly ask my clients for feedback, ask them how I could improve, ask them what else they would want from the services that I provide. And because of that, I've been able to create services that my clients love and want because they've asked me for them. So my Build My Business service that I provide, I didn't come up with that idea. I was helping a couple of my clients with systems development and process mapping, and they said, actually, this is too difficult. You know what you're doing. Can you just do it for us and put it together in a manual? Okay, fine. And then I created that as a service because more than one of my clients said it. So when you take a customer or a client-centered approach, it's much more likely that you're going to do things in a way that's going to connect with your target audience or your target kind of customer base, as opposed to you just sitting in isolation, coming up with ideas without verifying them or checking them with the people that you actually want to buy from you. So I'd say that's probably, I feel like I said more than one, but that's the answer.
I think as much information as possible is always useful. And so our final question just for today, and thank you so much for joining us, is how can people find you?
Oh, that one's easy. I spend most of my time, probably too much time, on Instagram at She's the Boss UK. I also have my website, which is she'sthebossintl.com, because the full business name is actually She's the Boss International. I'm speaking it into existence. I want to be an internationally recognized brand. But yeah, between those two places, I'm also on LinkedIn as Daniela Genus, and that's Genus with a G. I'm trying to spend more time on there. So connect with me there and send me a message, because then it's going to encourage me to spend more time on that platform.
Thank you so much for joining us today. That was like really inspirational. It's lovely seeing inspirational Black women doing what they want to do. I love to see it.
Oh, sorry, final place, I forgot. On YouTube, I don't know how I forgot this. YouTube, I have a YouTube series called She's the Boss Female Entrepreneur Stories. I currently have 93 interviews with a variety of women in business, primarily Black women, not totally Black women, but a large proportion are Black women. So I'd recommend everybody to go and check out those interviews. There's some really phenomenal women on there sharing their stories. And at the end of each interview, I ask them to share 3 pieces of advice. So there's like lots of advice on there, as well as recently I've been asking people to share their books. So you can kind of start looking at some of the books that some of these phenomenal women are reading and that have impacted their lives.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for joining us once again.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Take care. Bye.
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 I think Adam and Jonas are going to join us again for our last guest.
Yes, indeed. So now we have the People's Financial Advisor coming to talk to Adam and I, Emmanuel Asuko. Hey, Emmanuel, how are you?
Yes, Jonas. How you doing, Adam? You all right?
I'm well, thank you.
Good.
Cool. So first question for you is, who are you and what do you do? What's your story? How did you get to this point in your life, Emmanuel?
Okay, so who am I? I'm Emmanuel Asuko. I'm a financial advisor and TV personality. And basically, I help people make their money work for them, because we know as people we're very good at working hard for our money, but we don't know how to make our money work hard for us. And that's what I do. I get people from where they are to where they want to be, and I fill in the gap. What's my story? How did I become a financial advisor? I grew up in a place called Tower Hamlets, East London, on a council estate. My parents are both from Nigeria. I'm the first born in the UK. And I had a dream or vision to change my situation. And I always talk about having a vision board. And so my vision board was my bedroom window. And my bedroom window, if you know about Limehouse, where I grew up, is very close to Canary Wharf. So from my bedroom window, I could see the buildings in Canary Wharf. And in my African household, yeah, if you left the light on in the kitchen, you're finished. Yeah, my mum will be shouting out the yard, "Who left the light on in the kitchen? Imam, it was it." Like, you understand, and you know you're finished. You're gonna hold licks for the light on in the kitchen. And then I used to look out my window about 10, 11 o'clock at night and see 100 floors of buildings and all the lights are on. And in my young brain at 13, 14, I said to myself, right, there must be money over there because we can't even leave one light on in the kitchen. And these men have gone home and left 100 floors. So that became my desire, and my vision board became my window. And so I focused on trying to get over there. So cut a long story short, by the time I was 22, I became the youngest financial advisor at Barclays. I say doing that I left school with 4 GCSEs at C and a letter from my head of year. That's how I got into college, with 4 GCSEs and a letter from my head of year saying, "No, Emmanuel's on a steep learning curve, give him a chance." And then went on to university. At university, I still only got a 3rd class. The reason I say this is that now millionaires pay me to tell them what to do with their money. And so what I want people to understand is don't allow any certificate, any subject, anything man-made to define who you are. The only person that can define who you are is you. And you define who you are every day when you wake up with the actions that you decide to take. So that's a little bit of my story. And I guess, that's why we're here today.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And one of the questions that I was going to ask you is, I know that you're the People's Financial Advisor. So I know you've come up with clients with a lot of different needs. And what's been the main issue that you've seen within our community when it comes to building wealth?
I think the biggest is knowledge. I'm a Christian, and that scripture says, "My people perish because of lack of knowledge." It's so important. There is, I think, for what we fail to really understand is, forget what you know. What you should really be scared of is the things that you don't know that you don't know. That is, and to build that, we must forever continue to learn. So when people feel like, and this is why I talk about qualifications meaning nothing. Ask anyone that's successful. They learn more in experience in the workplace, doing whether it's their business or their job, than they ever did in a room getting a qualification. And so for me, it's that lack of knowledge. And it's systemized, it's designed that way. So it's not by accident. We don't just happen to become consumers. We are targeted to be consumers. And for me, I want us to get to a place of being owners. And so that's the big difference. And that's the big thing that I try and teach and try and get people to understand is when you go from a place of not just shopping at Boohoo, but owning shares in it. Not just renting a house, but owning it. Not just giving money to businesses, but starting your own. When we start to get to a place of ownership, the respect and the level of treatment that we're going to get is going to be different. I'm all for marching, like march all day long, I'm on it. But let me tell you something, when you start to own streets, you start to own blocks, you start to own buildings, you start to own equity, you start to own commodities, the language is different. The respect level is different. And that's what I'm trying to get us to.
Amen. And I just got to say, just to add to what you said there, I left school with just about 5 GCSEs. I got C's across the board and had to resit English. And I feel what you said, because so many people said, "Oh, Jonas, look, man, you could have done better." And I was thinking, wait, firstly, where was this encouragement since year 7? Because you man knew I didn't care about school until like halfway through year 11. Secondly, this is GCSEs, bro. I'm 16. I've got how many years ahead of me? And that's just something I want people to think of as well, because I'm doing quite well for myself. I'm not going to say I'm doing amazing, but I'm doing quite well for myself at my age. So just bear that in mind, because Emmanuel's talking facts with that right there. And my third question, the first question I want to ask you from both me and Adam is, what advice would you give to young people looking to get into the financial industry?
I think for me, it's all about understanding your skill set. You see me, I'm a people's person. That's why I call myself the people's financial advisor. I get on with people. So because I get on with people, the role as a financial advisor makes sense because that's what you do. You meet people all the time, you listen to their situation, and you work out strategies to help them improve their situation. If you're not a people person, if you're not energetic, if you don't like meeting people, if you don't like hearing people's story about their kids or things that are going wrong or the weather outside, if that's not you, then that's not the right role for you. Do you know what I mean? So for me, there's so many different elements. When you think finance, there's obviously the one most people go for is investment banking and trading, but there's a lot of qualifications there. If you're not a qualification read book type of guy, that one's not for you. Do you know what I mean? It might sound great, the money, but you ain't gonna pass the qualifications to get the role. So you've got, for me, it's about understanding your why, what motivates you, and then finding what skill sets do you have and what things can you do on a regular basis. Because I have now taken my passion and the things I learned at Barclays, and now I'm self-employed and I feed my family off my own back because I love what I do. I always tell people I love it doesn't feel like work. I get paid to do what I love. And that's the best position you can be.
Wow. Yeah. And thank you for that as well. I was going to even say, how important is it for our community to actually manage our finances?
You know,
the importance of that.
It's so important, and people just it's something that people miss. Like, I get the whole YOLO thing, man. I want to have fun, yay! You know what I mean? I get it. I totally understand. We want to be out here. We want to have fun. Only live once. But remember, the people that we listen to. For example, a man like Drake that created the song YOLO. You know what I mean? Really pushed it out there, and put that out there and said the YOLO. This brother's got brands. This brother's got businesses. This brother's got royalties. Royalties are an investment. Drake can stop making music today, and he will forever. His kids are going to live off tracks that he's made. So again, sometimes you have to understand the position that the people that we're listening to they're in. They're in a different situation. And so for me, what we need to understand is that for me, for example, I'm first generation in the UK. My parents haven't got land in Africa. Do you understand? We've got what we build here is what we've got. And so they gave me the one thing they could give me was education and an opportunity, and I had to take that. But if I can now build ownership, imagine like my kids now, we got pensions for them. So my kids are under, all of them are under 10. They already got pensions. We've already got junior ISAs for them. All right. And then all of a sudden, then also we're teaching them about value, understanding skills. So for example, my kids do performing arts. Not because I want them to be actresses or actors, but because I want them to have the confidence to speak in front of people. You understand? It's about understanding the skill sets that you want to give. And so it's more than just passing on knowledge. It's about passing on skills, understanding, empowerment. I want my kids to walk into a room and understand that they are inferior to no one. And that's what I need to present to them. Jay-Z has this line where he says, Jay did that so that you don't have to go through that. And for me, that's the number one thing I think about for my kids. Like, I'm doing all of this, all the times that I had to go there and these men were disrespectful, all the times I got made redundant, all the times they overlooked me, I've gone through that. So my kids ain't going to have to go through that. And that's why it's so important that we take the ownership, we take the knowledge, and we pass that on.
Wow.
I swear, you're the number one Jay-Z fan, man.
Always
quoting Jay-Z, man.
Always.
Yeah, he drops sick lines like that. So we got to pay homage to him, innit? And as we come out of COVID now, what are the top tips that you, Emmanuel, would give to people in securing their finances?
I think the biggest thing I can tell people is that one income is not enough. All right. It's about understanding that we saw people that had one income get made redundant. Some people are lucky enough to go furlough, but that's about to end. So coming out, it's about understanding how, even if you've got one job, what else can you do to create another stream of income? I've got one of my clients who has a van, and through that does Uber, does Amazon, does Deliveroo. All of a sudden, using that one van, they're making literally probably $1,000 a week. Now, we would think, to earn that type of money, we'd have to go and get X job or whatever. But it's all a hustle, and he's his own boss. When he doesn't want to work, he doesn't switch on the computer. He's there. And so for me, it's about understanding with this new way we're coming up, people are working from home. It's a different environment. What opportunities are there for you to take advantage of? Are there business ideas that you can do? Is the playing field being leveled? Because now people are online, you can be online too. We are seeing the transition of how many businesses now are going to influencers on social media. Well, you've got social media too, and you can go to an influencer too. So actually now the tools and the way to reach people are in your hands. And so now it's about, do you have the business ideas? Do you see people's pain points? What are the pains that people are going through? And do you have a solution to solve that? If you do, that's your new business. And it's about understanding, how do we start to create multiple streams of income so that if the workplace says, oh, we don't need you anymore, it's like, it's all right. That was only one of my income streams.
Wow. Now you took us to a whole new level and a whole new way of thinking as well. So I really do appreciate that. And just before you go, is there any way that people can actually find you and connect with you through your social media, your LinkedIn, etc.?
Yeah, you can catch me on E-Man Effect on Instagram, E-Man Effect on Twitter, LinkedIn, Emmanuel Suko. I'm big on LinkedIn, so definitely add me on LinkedIn. I always tell people, if you add me on Instagram, definitely add me on LinkedIn. And if you don't have LinkedIn, spend more time on LinkedIn than you do on Instagram. Trust me, that one is a free gem. That one will change your life. So yeah, but obviously got the website www.emmanuelsuko.com. You can download a free budget spreadsheet on the website to get started. There's also articles about pensions, investments, mortgages, all of that stuff on the website as well to help you gain knowledge. I'm just here to help them. Hopefully, my style is to try and bring finances, make it relatable, and try and add a little humor where possible.
Thank you so much. Yes, I just want to say thank you for coming on today. We really do appreciate your time, sir. We salute you. And thank you so much for the gems you dropped. I really do hope people actually apply this to their lives.
No, hopefully. My pleasure, man. It's lovely speaking to you, young kings. You know, keep doing what you're doing. It's so important. Representation matters. And, you know, obviously I'm here. You know, there are people looking to you guys, so you know, keep pushing it out there. I know how much energy it takes to do this stuff. I know how much time it takes away from other things, the sacrifices. I want to let you know that we appreciate you for taking that time out to create platforms like this to help the community. More blessings to you.
Thank you. God bless you, sir.
See you guys there.
Wow, that was amazing, Jonas, wasn't it?
Yeah, man. Seriously. Honestly, man. Go give my kids those junior ISAs. Was that ISAs, individual saving accounts?
Yeah, I'm
paying my kids on that. Yeah, I gotta get them on that early, man.
So any last words before we wrap up, guys? You guys want to say anything, anything you've learned or anything you've taken that you think other people would find valuable? We can start with Amina.
I think just generally, just to understand the various different organizations and each one of them, how they move through a different area of finances. I think for me in particular, I'm definitely going to have a look at that Open Palm online course, because I do definitely want to increase my financial literacy, especially in terms of diversifying my income, but also maximizing my income when I work to make sure that I stretch that money as far as possible.
I think me, as someone who wasn't necessarily interested in financial literacy and kind of developing my finances, today I've learned a lot. I've always thought of myself as someone who doesn't kind of want to go into that field, or somebody who doesn't want to like look at numbers and handle data and things like that. But I think today I've kind of learned that that is not the only way to get into it. It's not the only way to kind of create that generational wealth that we're all aiming for, and that there's a number of ways in which I can do that. So that's something I took away from today. So thank you everyone for joining us today.
Yeah, for me, first things first, thank you everybody that's been watching. No matter if you were here for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, regardless, you're taking time out of your day to come and learn and develop yourself. So we're grateful for all of you. And for me personally, I think for me, it's really just stated and stamped in my mind that financial education is massive. So I've read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I read that when I just turned 18 in 2019. And Therefore, a lot of people would think, oh, he's very rich, that poor dad, he knows everything about finances. But today, I heard stuff. Remember, just now I was like, no, I gotta get my kids those pensions and those junior bank accounts and stuff. So there's still more I need to learn. And I always knew that there was more I needed to learn. But I think for the audience, we need to understand that in life, you're never gonna know everything. Never, ever, ever. There's gonna be weeks where you're doing well, because this has happened to me, because now I'm self-employed. I've realized that I've been working and I've been like, oh, I didn't get that task done this week. But I need to understand, and I've been telling myself consistently, you're not going to get everything done every week. You're not going to get everything you always want to get done in a day. So that's going to have to come the next day or the next week. And that's the same with learning things. You're never going to know everything in the world. And for me, that's something that it does hurt me, because I do want to know a lot of things and learn a lot, because I do enjoy learning. But it's what I have to come to terms with in life. And today, though, was just an exercise in Black excellence, because this isn't the stuff that we usually see. But the fact that the 100 has made a platform for not only us to host it, but also for all these amazing professionals to come on and drop so many gems throughout the night, I have to take my hat off. And tonight is going to be a good time for food for thought and reflection, to be honest. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's definitely going to be one for the books, as Jonas said. And yeah, one of the things that I really found really interesting was Jonas kind of touched on being teachable and coachable. And I really do feel like that's so important, because a lot of these people, we had people within the investment banking field, people within all areas of finance, and they've given us so much knowledge, but knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. So guys, if you have really took something today, really do take it and apply it, starting from tomorrow if you can. Get those things set up. They gave out a lot of free gems and a lot of free resources. So I do really encourage each and every single one of you to go on their pages and actually find out about how you can actually level up and how you can change your financial situation for the better. So yeah, I just want to wrap up and just lastly say thank you all for coming on tonight. I really do appreciate your time and taking out the time. Oh, Jonas, you want to say something?
Yeah, like this guy doesn't want me to say this, but thanks to Michael as well, because he's backstage, obviously, probably laughing right now at the back. But big up to him, because he's been setting up these events consistently throughout this month. So big up to him as well. He knows who he is. King B Mike on Instagram, Michael Sode on LinkedIn. KBM Financial focuses his business. Make sure you follow that. And he's not getting away from this. We need to pay this man homage and give him the flowers he deserves.
100%. He's really putting a lot of work throughout the whole months and leading up to these events as well. And the reason why we are putting on these events is because of the 130th anniversary. So I just want to encourage, the 20th anniversary. We're getting a whole decade ahead. But yeah, and one thing I do want to encourage you guys is that the 100 Black Men of London are actually working towards buying our own building, so that many of us can actually come together and actually own things that Kamani was talking about, actually owning assets that would actually enhance our community as a whole, begin to bring people together so that we can actually go in and build corporate economics. So we have a GoFundMe page for that, which will probably be in the comment section below. And yeah, I just want to encourage each and every single one of you to continue striving for greatness, and just remember that what they see is what they'll be. So thank you for coming on.